I'm Wendell.
And I'm Patrick.
And
This is
Yes,
But Why?
Podcast.
I always wanted to drink Disney alcohol because
But it's
here
it comes.
You can get a
Technically,
bubbly
it is. I'm sorry,
rosé.
you're still eating. When you throw it up, it's pink.
Oh,
I know from experience. I had the Mark Cornwell, and I was like,
oh no, was that the first thing you ever drank?
oh, it's gonna get worse. It was part bourbon, scotch. It was everything.
Oh, wait,
we had
no,
a party. Hold on.
pink.
We had a party.
It was trash can punch.
No, my mom and them had a party.
Yeah,
so
you
what it was,
drinking jungle juice.
yeah, my mom had a party, and so they were asleep. Me and my homeboy came
Red
back,
Switch.
and we were like, "Hey, let's drink." And I was like, "You know what? We don't have nothing to do." So whatever he would make, I would drink. I used to call it anything you can drink, I can drink better. I can drink anything better than you. No, you can't.
Yeah.
Yes, I can.
That's
No,
the way
you
to
can't. Yes, I
start.
can.
Yeah, that's the right way to start. Yeah.
So, but yeah, we literally did like the champagne stuff, the gin, beer. Everything that was there. I remember my mom took account of what we had drunk the next day, and she's like, "Dude, y'all emptied us out.
Yeah,
What the hell were you doing?"
I think I'm gonna set it up.
Having fun.
You know, like those chicken pox parties that parents used to do.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
I
Get over
might
it.
set up a really awesome
No.
party.
You should.
No,
You
well,
should.
like,
You
I'm sorry.
should.
together to spread the
Oh,
chicken
don't
pox.
be that
Because
bad,
chicken
dude.
pox is
Right.
safer to get when you're a child
Yeah.
than as an adult. So
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
parents would
Yeah,
get
whenever a
chicken
kid
pox
on
and
the
they'd
block-
invite all the other
You
kids
still
over
got
to
the
get it.
warranty on your body. You're
Well,
good.
yeah,
Remember
but
that.
they would
Yeah.
literally you would go over and spend the night at that kid's house.
Yeah,
so that
never
Thinking
mind.
it was just that.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
What?
yeah.
My
because
parents
chicken,
did
if
not.
you get
They
chicken
had
pox,
chicken
My parents didn't do that.
if you
They
have
didn't
chicken
give,
pox
like,
as
the
an
lick-
adult,
the
you can
stick or
die.
whatever
So
the-
that's
Yeah, but once you get chicken pox, the chicken pox virus is
You're
in your
forever
body
out, though.
forever. So
But-
it doesn't fucking matter if you get it when a kid or when you're an adult anyway. You can get shingles when you're an adult.
I know,
Yeah,
shingles
but
don't-
here's
shingles
the
aren't
thing,
lethal.
though. Chicken pox as a man from the age of 13 and up can cause sterility.
yeah. There's a lot of big, heavy things. If you already got it,
it's
though,
harsh.
It's different. That's
It's
a whole
harsh
other
for
thing.
guys.
Shingles is like a thing you got to call out of work for a couple of days. Like if you
Well, no, shingles
no,
is
I don't
hard.
think that's not
I haven't got
Shingles
shingles
is
yet.
rough.
I know it'll happen.
Shingles
one day,
is
but-
rough. My
but
mom's
it's
gone
not-
through that.
No,
it ain't
shingles is
easy.
not okay.
It ain't easy being cheesy
Has
with
everybody got
shingles.
shingles
I'm telling
yet?
you.
Well, because
But-
it keeps
I'm
coming
sorry.
back.
It
That's
keeps
weird.
coming back.
Yeah.
It's a recurrence.
I'm
And it
okay
is-
being the minority
it is
in
the
this
chicken.
conversation
it is,
right now.
It
Just
is.
like, okay, you guys tell me about
It
shingles.
is
I
a
don't
part of the
fucking know
chicken
that.
pox
That's-
virus, and it's a more mature
Yeah.
form of the chicken pox virus. So
What a terrible
if
name.
you can still get shingles even though you've never had chicken pox because you can still get chicken pox.
Oh, okay,
Well, it's
because it's
because
still
of
like
the,
in there.
It's
Yeah.
called
Yeah.
shingles because of the way it looks.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
The scabbing.
That's a
of
fucking. I have never seen what
It's-
shingles looks like.
yeah,
I
it's-
assumed it was an apt description.
It's pretty painful.
not great.
But like, yeah,
But-
I want to set
but
up
yeah, they had chicken
a wild
pox.
ass party for my kid
Yeah.
right in high school, like right when he hits high school,
With
and
the
just be
liquor?
like, "Here's every kind
Yeah,
of alcohol.
and don't give
drink
any
it,
warnings.
drink it. I'll hold
And
your
don't
legs
eat either.
up."
Don't eat.
And then
Don't
the
eat.
next day,
Y'all can run around
Yeah.
too.
No.
Here's the keys to the cars.
And
Let
then
it
the
all
next
go
day,
bad. Yeah.
he's gonna be like, "I'm
never
fuck
doing
that
this
noise."
again. Yeah.
And
I
Yeah.
thought you were
it's
gonna
work out.
Hello.
I thought you were gonna throw a mono party for your teenager.
That's
like,
even funnier.
Dude,
Before he goes to
Jim's got
college.
mono. Everybody come on over.
Before he goes to college.
Spin the bottle, everybody!
Bottle, yeah.
Before you get the hep shot. That's what's up.
God, it's like a mini like key party.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you're the parent that told all the kids to come get in the basement and start making out. You weirdo. Yeah, like
You're like, who
Yeah.
has condoms? Take them out of your wallet. Give
Yeah.
them to me right
Those
now.
mean it.
I want you
No.
to get some STDs. Come on.
Yeah, where have you been the last 2 years?
Everybody still has insurance for the next 6 years. Come on in.
penicillin's not as fun later, guys. Let's go ahead and just get
That's
that
right.
first round
That's
through.
right.
I told you, you
Right.
just got a warranty on your body. You can do all kind of shit, man.
Yeah, you've been to the free
You'll get a
25
Z-pack every
graduation.
3
You ain't
seconds.
figured it out.
Thank you. I watch little kids. I watch little kids all the time. I take my kids to play. Like we went to Jumpaline. I just watch the kids and they're just turning flips, fall. Like leg goes this way, the leg goes that way. They pop up, and I'm watching like. Nah.
You know, man, it's funny because like I used to actually work at a summer camp for like ages 4 to 12.
Uh-huh.
You know, and I was a youth minister, all kinds of stuff. But I was talking to a buddy of mine, his dad. Just yesterday, and he was like, "Yeah, you know, hold on, I got to go outside. It's really noisy in here." I'm like, "Where are you at? What's going on?" He's like, "Oh, we're at like the altitude trampoline place for some kids' party." I was like, "Is it just me, or should we like open up a series of clinics right next to altitude
You should,
trampoline.
bro, you
Like
should.
you would
It's
print your own
stupid.
money,
Yes,
dude.
you would.
Like, I'm sorry, why would you take your child anywhere that you have to sign a friggin' disclaimer?
Had a window
fun?
in front of a
Well,
trampoline
yeah.
that launched
Hey,
you through
yeah,
a hole.
hey,
Yeah.
but
I have been there
I'm good.
many a time.
I'm not going to say
ready
it's
to go
not
scoop a
fun.
kid up and
Like
carry
I
him
said,
over.
I was an assistant youth
Yeah.
minister, and I loved nothing more than whenever we had like lock-ins at laser tag with the junior high group. Like,
oh yeah,
oh yeah, man. But it was like all night laser tag, just like, and it's like, oh yeah, y'all are gonna hang out all night. Yeah, it's
right.
like, homeboy drinks till 3 a.m. He's like, we gonna roll, kids. Let's
You're
let's
like,
hit it.
who's awake?
Yeah, what's
Why are
wrong?
y'all asleep? Come
What's
on.
wrong?
Why are you
It's 6
talking so
a.m.
loud? Come on, get up. Don't you want to play?
6
Right on
a.m.
their faces like it's a college
Yeah.
party, you
Put
know?
them in,
Yeah.
put them in what do you call it? Put them in comas. I used to love doing
Yeah,
that. I take my kids somewhere, dude.
Put 'em in comas.
And the problem that I hate is
Just
why-
wear them out.
Yeah,
just
I
wear
live
them out
so
like a
far
dog,
away from
dude.
the places, and so it sucks because they will be so tired in the car ride
Yeah.
home. And I'm like, ooh, I can get home. I'm thinking all the stuff I can be productive doing, and it's like just 10 minutes
Just
too far.
occasionally
Oh, yeah.
swerving to the
Right.
left just to keep them
They
awake
start-
so they sleep when you get
Yeah.
home.
No, man, mine sleep. They sleep, and then the moment I get in the parking lot or get in the driveway, bam, they're awake.
Wide awake.
I remember as a kid, like as soon as we would take
have
that
you heard
turn,
go the fuck to
so
sleep?
like
Yes.
right before our house,
Love
you
that.
take
We
that
got that
turn.
for-
I would wake up every time.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
the body knew as soon as you go,
doesn't
oh,
that-
we're about to
that's
turn into
so
the
Yeah.
thing. Great, gotta get up.
My
Yeah.
family never got that luxury. I lived at the end of a dirt road that was just all
Bugger,
rocks.
bugger, bugger, bugger,
Yeah,
bugger,
so like
bugger.
once we
Yeah,
got out of the
yeah.
asphalt, I'm like, all right, what can I fuck up now?
That explains a lot of the
How did I
shaken
ruin y'all's
baby
day?
inside of you.
Oh yeah.
I was so mad. We lived at the top. We lived 3 stories up. We lived 3 flights up, and so I kid y'all not. I would carry because my son was an infant, and then my daughter was toddlers. They were 2 years apart, and so I would carry my son and my daughter all the way up 3 flights of stairs, and I'm like, "Fuck it, we got this. We got this. We got this." I'm ninjaing it.
Look at elf in the woods.
I see a cat walk by. I'll kill you. Get the fuck out of here.
He'll do
Good.
He'll
I
do.
figure out how to somehow. I figured out how to carry. I think I would carry her with this arm, and I would have the what do you call it? Holder to carry her right
Diaper
here.
bag. Oh.
And so a diaper bag would be in the damn car. Fuck. Screw it. If they
Later.
pooped,
Later.
listen, if they pooped and blew out, I'm just gonna deal with it with my
Yeah.
shirt or whatever I got on.
Quietly.
I'd open the door, and I'd get them in. And I'd sneak in, and I'd leave. I'd just let him just stay in his thing because sometimes you say, "Screw it, he's safe, he's comfortable, he's asleep." Then I would get her, and I'd get her right to the freaking crib, and I'd let her in, and I would turn to walk out, and she would wake him up, and she'd be awake. And I'm like, so I could have just let y'all walk up the
Yeah, no.
stairs, you know?
That's
Yeah.
that's funny. I just went home.
Wake up.
I just went back to
Yeah.
South Carolina. My family makes a shit ton of kids. Like they're not
Nice.
Catholic, but they
They're Duggars. They got you.
they have the same
They're
attitude towards
daggers.
condoms. Yeah, like they just keep
Yeah.
popping them out, and they're adorable, and I love them, and I'm the fun uncle. Is a thing I wanted to be when they were tiny and couldn't run.
Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
couldn't run, but now I'm the fun uncle. So now
You're
they'll
entertainment.
have like almost grown up bodies with
Yeah.
strides
Yes,
like
sir.
ostriches, you know?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
Sir.
So I got in this dumb thing where they were like, all right, chase us, and I was like, all right, the little one's fine, I can get the little
Aw.
ones. But there's one that's like in middle school now, whose
Like a
legs
couple
are
inches
like,
shorter than you?
whose legs are just barely shorter than mine, totally. And I had a full-on sprint for the first time
That's
since
what's
high school.
up. Was he chasing you, or were you chasing?
No, it was a girl. I was chasing her,
Okay.
and she had all the stamina in the world. And I was like,
Yeah.
I haven't sprinted since
Yeah.
the presidential fitness.
That is a
Yeah,
yeah,
like-
10th grade
No,
in high
yo,
school.
I'm full on sprinting
I knocked,
wide.
Yeah.
I knocked all my gym out in the first 2 years of high school, so I didn't have to fuck with that.
Smart.
I was like, I don't
Same
care what
here.
Bill Clinton thinks, or I don't care what George W. Bush thinks
Yeah.
about how fast I can run a mile. Fuck
Yeah.
this, I'm not doing it anymore.
Right.
No,
I
that's
stopped running.
That's why I managed the basketball team because I just had to sweep the floor and then go home Friday.
Reagan.
I just swept the floor and went home 6th period, then kept some stats at the game.
As far as I knew,
Here's the balls, coach.
President Clinton.
Yeah.
You didn't get
President
those
Bush.
options.
Thanks
That
for
wasn't
A's
like
for the next 2
you
years.
can finish. It was like you're
Marching
taking
band was
gym
good.
every
Right?
year.
Every
That's
year,
the
yeah,
thing,
it was every year for me. It was
President
Yeah.
Clinton just wanted everybody to hear me fart doing sit-ups. Because, you know, you gotta do that in the gym and everybody's
Yeah.
quietly counting, one person
Pretty
holds your
much.
feet down.
Yeah.
And it was just
farts.
countdown to fart. That's all it was, and I was always the first one. I was always the first one. and just the ripple effect outwards. It just, oh my God! Somebody finally did the thing we're all trying not to do. That was what it was. You know, like,
smell it too.
I had a terrible diet. There was no setting it up. There was no avoiding it.
No, my 6-year-old got me to run full speed the last time he was here. I was not thrilled by that at all.
For fun
He
or
caught
to
me,
save his
though.
life?
No, not to save his life.
That's the other thing.
If he didn't need to save his life after he ran me down, I'd have let him go. I was mad as shit. He ran me down. We're playing tag, and I'm like, ha, ha, ha. Whoa. How did you get her this? I tried to jump. I thought I was smart. I said, I'll parkour it. And so I jumped over the slide. And in the time it took me to get up and jump over the slide,
He was under the slide
on the other side. Yeah, I was like,
He just moused underneath it.
He's like,
I was mad. I was really like,
We're going home. It's over. We're going home.
Yeah.
we're done.
This is
I'm like
not
getting
fun.
jumper
It's
boy.
not. I was like, I thought I had like 2 more years.
like-
you know,
Alright.
4 more years.
It's enough
I
of these
love
games.
this part.
Yeah,
that was the thing with my niece is like there was a second where I was like I don't need to be the fun uncle.
Right.
Right before I decided to bust out and catch her, you know, like I was like,
Let's go.
here's all I got, and I jumped and I caught her.
Yeah.
But it was like I could just walk away from this life right
Straight
now.
up.
Hold on. Did you
Straight
just
up.
say you
Yeah.
tackled her? Did you?
I did. I
jumped
was
and you
like,
caught
No,
her?
he deserved. She deserved to get
We're
tackled.
playing run and catch
Tackle
me.
her, yes.
Whatever I have to do. Then.
Yeah, man. At that point, it's
Tripper.
Yeah, I was
Throw a
thinking.
boomerang
out
at her.
her
I don't
neck.
He's
care.
gonna lasso.
Remember this?
Right.
There's some
Yes.
there's some dirt in her eye.
She won't run faster than you next time.
No,
She'll
she
just
won't.
remember.
Well-
she'll throttle it back.
I'm probably saying goodbye to that role next year. Like
Yeah.
if she doesn't grow out of that shit, because she's at the age she should be getting out of that chase me shit. Yeah.
Chase.
Oh,
No.
dude, this was the first
I
year.
don't want to be
too.
chased.
How old are you
My
guys?
bank is Chase. No, mine 86.
86.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got some time. This is the first year I went back and my nieces were like, I want makeup for Christmas.
Whoa,
Yeah.
damn.
I was
Now-
like, oh, shit, okay. And then I got to Walmart and I realized that is not enough information.
No, it's not.
No.
That is
Did you give him
100%.
kid makeup? Did you give him kid makeup?
See, I went and found the kid makeup,
makeup.
but for a second,
Go
I
cute.
went and bought an empty bag near the makeup aisle,
go see.
and then I just started just grabbing
about to get your
random
Mac on.
shit. I
He's getting
I
Mary
really
Kay
did. I
on.
was like, that goes on your eyes, that goes on your
And then
mouth,
you
that
and then
goes
you
on your
freak the
cheeks.
parents out and be like, I just went to Goodwill and bought everything that was on the
It's all
shelf.
yours.
Right.
All yours.
It's all you.
Yeah.
It's all yours.
This chapstick right here.
I had no
Three
idea.
other people had
I
it beforehand.
figured a shotgun approach.
It's better to get
was the
hepatitis
best.
C when you're early.
That's
I'm
right.
telling you.
Like we
That's right.
said, yeah.
Yeah.
Old
Have C
ass.
parties.
This is such an
Have C
anti-vaxxer
parties.
group right here. It's
I'm
like,
just saying, dude.
who needs a vaccine?
Just deal with it.
Just get a group.
Yeah, let's do
Yeah.
it. We dealt with it when we was your age. I did just fine when I was your age. I got
Yeah.
that and the whole other thing. Look at me
Yeah.
now. I'm still here.
Yeah. We'd find out who had the herp and just share the lipstick all the way around the class.
I can seriously
The
hear my
herb
mom.
doesn't go away.
Share the
You don't
chicken
want to
in
do
my
that.
I can hear my
Yeah.
mom having that
Not
kind of
going.
conversation with me right now when I'm trying to do something for my kids in her presence. She's like, boy, I turned out just fine. Let them get sick. It's okay. Mom, are you okay?
I'll let you sleep on your face all the time. I let you
Dude,
sleep face
we gave
down,
you chicken with
straight
bones
up.
in it. Yeah. My ex-wife lost her shit when she found out that my mom gave her, our daughter a solid. Like she gave her, that was both of them, I think my daughter and my son, got their first solid food from my mom. And she was pissed. I was like, oh my God, I can't tell the story. It's like she had chicken. And I was like, well, you know what? We need to just do this now and get it over with.
Yeah.
If not, my daughter's going to grab for chicken and know what it is. My wife's going to, how you know what the fuck that is?
Yes.
Oh, honey, I don't know how she know what that is.
Oh, yeah.
She just smelled. I guess she just smelled delicious.
Right, she was born with chicken or something.
No, yeah, that's who doesn't grab at chicken, that's all.
Yeah.
Right.
Everybody wants
Babies
a
grab
chicken.
at everything.
Right.
Yeah, they put everything in their mouth.
I had
There's
to talk her off the ledge, man.
like
It's like,
a-
really, your mama's just gonna try to kill our baby? She was giving her nourishment. Technically, that's food.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
like-
happens to have a bone in it.
Hoping your baby will rally, like, hey, look, here's a can of Raid. Watch her grab at it. Grab at it. Grab at it.
Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on.
Love babies. Babies are
He's a
terrifying.
raid.
Babies are great, and then
Babies
like I'm more
terrifying.
scared of this thing though with my nieces though, because like makeup and
Oh.
then
It was like, I don't know
and
what
then I
you're
just
trying
gotta
to say.
worry, and then I just gotta worry why they want makeup. What do you
Growing
mean?
up,
to
Why
get rid of imperfections that we all have.
Yeah.
Babies,
So that we
they're
can-
baby girls.
Because
So that we can all
they've been
fall
on the
into this
internet and
social
they've
They've been
believed
pushed to
that
this
you
point.
can look
The
like
social
that.
norms.
I go back, they can
Society.
cat
Yeah.
daddy, they can Dougie and
They
shit.
pretty
And I'm just
much.
like, why though? Why
Yeah,
though?
the
That's
internet.
not-
As long as they are not
dances.
doing the fucking stanky leg, that's
can
all
do
I
the
care
stanky
about.
leg,
That's on the way.
What year is
I
it?
think I just I literally just worked.
I was about to say they probably.
I literally just worked a
How
corporate
does the
event.
stanky legs have anything to do with
He's
it?
acquainted. He's going to tell you.
I don't like the
Girls.
idea. Well,
Little
yeah,
girls,
it's a charity sort of thing,
you don't want
but
to
also I
find
just-
out your meat
I want
deal
them
like
to
that.
want to be artsy and
If
get
only
into
I
it.
had a
I don't want them
dashboard
to, like,
big
care
enough.
about what the new dance is. Stanky leg is a gateway dance.
It's a gateway dance.
It is a gateway dance. Exactly.
Patrick,
It's like
did you just Google stanky leg?
No, I know what the stanky leg is.
Oh, she called her.
My
It's
family's
I know-
basically, if
I
you
have
remember
done this
Dirty
thing.
Dancing, where the dude's leg is in between and they're gyrating.
Almost, yeah, also
that's a
my
stanky leg.
Oh.
And it's
I saw
an
Dirty
intimate.
Dancing,
it's-
yeah.
What? That's
Yeah,
not
that's
the
the
stinky
stanky leg.
leg.
That ain't.
That is not the stinky leg. I was like, whoa, you were there.
It's
That's
a-
grinding.
Yeah.
The dance you're thinking of is just grinding or whatever. Stanky leg is a
Yeah.
dance you do by yourself.
Stanky leg is like you're trying
Yeah.
to wake your leg up if it fell asleep.
Pretty much.
okay.
But
Shaking it.
what you
shaking it.
described is what we don't want our kids to do.
That's
Yeah.
You're correct.
the end
You were
result.
describing
See,
Shata.
That's where my brain went.
Yeah.
It's
So
with
weird
stanky
That's
leg.
the
You
name
guys
of
are
the
gonna be
conversation.
stanky?
Hey,
You want
yeah,
to do
don't
that?
want
Because when
kids
you're
to do
done,
that
your leg
because-
might be a little stinky.
No.
Yeah.
That's
you don't want
the
that.
thing that I remember from my childhood being so amazing. The first time you grind on
True.
someone in like junior
In
high,
middle school, that's what I said. Middle
it's
school
just
was the
like, what is going on? And then the fog machine went off, and it was just
Put your
like,
hand up
this
on my
is
hips
life.
and I dip you, dip you, dip.
He's right, because 5th through 5th grade, we'll say from 5th all the way up to 7th, that was all that life mattered. Was
Yep,
grinding.
yep.
That was it.
Getting somebody to
girls
grind on.
dancing, let's get behind her. And then after a while, I started noticing, because I like to dance, I was like, we're not dancing, are we? They're like, no, but isn't it fun? I was like, yeah, it's fun. But I was like, I like to dance, though. And after a while, I stopped doing the grinding thing, and I was the guy by myself dancing. But that was always something I noticed.
No,
like, why are we just
man,
standing?
Okay.
being taught to slow dance was the best thing my parents did. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, 6th through 8th grade, all the other guys didn't know how to dance. And
Yeah.
you're all
I
just
miss-
shy, and it's just like, slow dance, I'm in.
Yeah.
Did
Good
not
classy
dance.
way to
Did
come around.
not dance.
Yeah.
Like, just people coming up and asking. It's like,
Listen
yeah,
to
sure,
that.
let's dance.
Listen to that
Let's do
nice
it, lady.
2-4. You want to hit the floor?
Yeah, like, do you know the box step? No, that's fine. We'll just.
I
Just
totally,
follow me. It's
you.
okay. I got this.
I totally misunderstood what grinding was about, though.
Yeah.
Like what the core concept of it was,
Yeah.
where you're just supposed to not
Well, and
get
see,
excited.
by the time
wanna
that
love
You're
that.
not supposed to get excited.
By the
You're supposed
time
to
that
try
that
to not.
actually came about, like I was
didn't know
out
that.
of college age by that point.
Thought we were
So
just
for
feeling
me,
each
it
other
was
out.
one of those like I was saying, I was an assistant youth minister. Like I saw people trying to, and it was like, hey, let's make some room for Jesus.
Yeah,
Wait a
yeah.
minute.
Right.
We're
Yeah,
on
so
church
you gotta put
property
the
right
book in
now.
there.
Were y'all playing,
Right.
were y'all
You read
still
the book?
playing, what do you call it, secular music, though, at the dances?
There
or?
were some, but it was very light toned.
is
There
alive.
was
I was
no,
like, what the heck
there
are
was
you
no,
grinding to?
there was
What
no
kind of music do y'all
Biggie
have
stuff
that
like
you-
that.
DC
Yeah.
Talk was pretty
mean,
good grinding.
Yeah, I'm like-
house.
You're right.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure out, like, what songs
Well, I
do
mean,
have
there
big
was
actually
some
grind to?
popular music and stuff like that
Yeah,
played, but it
okay,
wasn't
okay.
any Biggie or anything like that.
Yeah, that's what I
you know.
figured, but that's what's up.
Yeah, but when you were
But-
teaching, what year was it?
That was
I was like-
easily.
I can tell you what music was.
No,
doing,
that was
man.
like 1994
Yeah.
So doing the
to
butt-
like
actually, no, this is
2000.
even further up. Soul for Real.
No, like I
Biggie
was.
Smalls, or Puff Daddy.
I was
going
starting
on.
to be an
When I
assistant
dip, you
teacher.
dip, you dip.
Yeah,
That was
when I
going
dip,
on.
yeah.
Yeah.
I always hated also the train. I mean, come on, ride the train. Because there would always be one person who tripped, and then the whole, then just made
Yeah.
him on the back end, and then that person needs to go home. That person gets up and laughs like it's okay, and we're just you're our enemy now. You're the one. You're the person who farted doing sit-ups. You know, like you're
Yeah.
the guy who needs to go home.
Of course,
Yeah.
it was him.
We'll see you
He farted
tomorrow.
when we were in
We're over
elementary
it
during
now.
sit-ups.
You don't remember that in like 4th grade?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know you weren't supposed to have an erection
awful.
grinding either. That was like the other big thing.
It's one of those
Yeah.
weird things that it came and it didn't. Bad choice of words, but whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was there was so much stuff when it came to that was essentially just dry sex.
No.
But at the same time, there was stuff where people were like, "No, it's not dry sex." But I mean,
no, that was
as an
heavy
adult-
petting without hands.
Exactly. As an adult, though, watching that, if you see your daughter doing that, you see your son doing that. Oh, that's
100%.
No,
Yeah.
I remember the
everybody else is
first
lying to
time
themselves,
I
not
saw
me.
it break out at a wedding, and I was like, "Are you shitting me right now?"
Like children at a wedding?
That's what I wanna
Yeah,
know.
like teenagers and stuff like that. And
Okay.
it's like, and it was like a family wedding, and I was like,
you're
What
more likely
the-
to have sex at after a wedding or a death. That's
Oh, well,
that's a thing.
no.
I didn't know about the
that's
death
true.
part, but I've known about the wedding part for quite some time,
Yeah.
and it's always tripped
Well,
me
and
out.
that's-
Kids are on board.
So that's
no,
the place I
I know.
don't want to hook up
Well,
with
no, and
anybody.
that's
I'm
part
like,
of what
no.
we're
At a wedding?
like.
No.
That's part of
Yeah,
what
yeah,
we're
'cause
talking about with the Valentine's
there's
thing
more
tomorrow.
past
You
it,
know,
but they
it's
want,
like
right?
it's-
Is that-
Yeah, and it's just so much, like, because you know so many people.
Oh, yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah,
Like, for
totally.
my thing is, you know so many people. I
They're
love
gonna see you sneak
the
off.
Yeah, the anonymity is kind of a beautiful thing. I'm a
100%,
divorcee,
no.
so I talk about anonymity a lot more now.
Sure.
But when you're at a wedding, like, everybody knows you. And if not, they've been introduced to you enough
Right.
that now if you make a mistake, any kind of indiscretion you have, it's going to be broadcast.
Yeah,
They're like,
family
"Ooh,
newsletter.
Did you see
That's
Courtney
really-
sneaking off with so-and-so?
Yeah.
Here's a picture of them sneaking out. Here's a video of what they was doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's so weird.
It's like, hey, you know our friends
Man.
got married.
I'm not going to
everybody.
deny the fact that there were hookups at my wedding.
I've heard so many stories of that.
Dude.
man.
Amy looks off to the right.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
There
Well,
were
there was
hookups
at least
at my wedding.
one.
Well,
I mean,
sure, I guess so. No, my favorite part of our wedding was
guess
that
so.
we had a party in like the best man's room after, and I go to bed early. Like
Yeah.
that's just how I'm not really a late night partier
you are,
anymore.
yeah.
So we're hanging out for a little bit. I have a drink. We're hugging. We're having a good time. Then I was like, okay, I'm going to bed now. And Chris was like, okay, because he knows me. And the rest of the party is like, what do you mean? And I was like, I'm going to sleep.
Yeah.
And they're like, but it's your wedding night. And I was like, yeah, I would like to go to sleep. Like, and I was like, see you later. And he was like, he doesn't have to come with you? And I was like, no, he's just going to stay up.
They're like, you're not going to consummate the thing? What the hell? What's going
I
on
was
here?
like, but no.
That
he
had
was
already
like,
been taken care of.
Yeah, well, it's-
all right.
During the vows.
No, yeah,
nonetheless.
no.
It's a real strange wedding.
No,
My-
I was like,
Tempus fugit, my friend. You never know when things may happen in life.
no, wait.
So
Now I
I
have
wanted
to
to
tell that
make
story
sure that-
because that's even more horrifying. So after the wedding, we didn't have like a limo or whatever because
Yeah.
like whatever we paid for. We got married in our 30s, so we paid for everything ourselves, and
Right,
like
y'all are
we
realistic.
just got a one of
nice-
his.
it was a nice party.
Oh, we had a great party, but it was paid for that day, and we were like done.
Yeah.
Anyway, my mother-in-law gave us her car to drive to the hotel with, and it had the like just married thing. So we like get in the car and we're like, see you later, bye, and we drive away and we get to the hotel, and when we get to the hotel, we open up the back and they've not put our bags into the back. Like our stuff was nowhere to be found. So we went up to our room and we're like. Everyone was like, when are you guys going to be ready to come down to the party? And we were like,
Yeah, 'cause
we
we had
don't
told-
have clothes.
We had told the bar downstairs that we were going to have a wedding party. You
Right.
know, like, hey, everybody from our wedding is staying at this hotel, so get ready for like 8 o'clock when
Yeah.
everything's done. Like, everyone's going to be hanging
Y'all
out
still
here.
dressed.
Yeah,
So
yeah. And we're
waiting,
like
an hour and a
waiting
half
and
in our
waiting.
room, just in the wedding dress.
Just for
I was like,
luggage
we're
to
in the
make
wedding
it to
dress
him.
and the tux. We consummated, then put our wedding dress back on, and I was just like,
Still waiting.
okay.
Hey, I
and
don't.
we're just like, I guess this is.
Why didn't y'all
what,
just? I guess I'm finding it weird. I know about the tux, especially if it's a rental. You're like, I don't want to fuck this up. Dress, not say. Kept the dress or rented the dress?
No, it's
Sure.
mine. It's my dress, but it was
Why
like
did y'all just go down? I don't ever understand that.
there was a lot of rigmarole
hear
happening.
you, I
There's
hear you.
there's a lot of action. There's
you've
like
hear you,
this
I hear you.
thing.
You've been in it for hours. You know,
I hear you.
Spanks and
I just,
stuff.
I
I
see
don't need
people
to be
every
in
now and
that.
then, like downtown. This happens a lot, where I'll see people have their thing, like say at Brazos Hall, and
Yeah.
they go to 6th Street right afterwards.
Yep.
And I like last night, I think I told her, I said congratulations, there's all
Yeah.
their stuff, and I was like, how messed up would it be if that's a rental and somebody gets drunk and throws up on that?
Yep.
That would really be a jacked up
I've
way to
been
start
in a-
your wedding.
Yeah.
I've been at a wedding where where somebody got punched in the nose.
And blood.
And all over the rental. All over the rental.
Good
See, I
wedding.
have
My
Yeah.
friend's
That's the
wedding.
worst way to start
I
anything.
actually, whenever I started in the AV industry,
Yeah.
I shot for a pretty big wedding house in Houston.
Uh-huh.
And
Video,
like
got a
I
video.
shot like Randy Jordan from Ghetto Boys.
Oh.
I shot his wedding. I shot like the wedding of Vince. Who is it? Vince Foster. Is that the guy, or no? Who was it that was head of the WWF?
Oh,
Vince
this
McMahon.
Vince McMahon. Yeah, I shot his daughter's wedding.
Stephanie and Hunter.
Stephanie and Triple H.
Like
That is the coolest thing ever.
yeah.
That's
I like
Yeah.
how he just says the daughter. We're like, no. She's
Yeah.
married to
Yeah.
the
Triple
gang,
H.
the
Yeah.
apex predator.
Yeah.
they are the power couple that
Yeah.
keeps the
It's crazy.
WWE
Yeah.
rolling.
And,
That is the coolest thing ever.
Yeah. So, and it was
Well,
a really
they were
fun
put together in a
thing. It was
storyline, and
small,
they
you know.
actually
Came
ended up.
together,
Yeah,
yeah.
they-
It went from kayfabe
Yeah.
to real thing.
And
That means all the other
Jesus.
wrestlers were there too.
But
Did he have long hair then?
literally,
Did he have long hair?
yeah,
He did. He did.
yeah.
Did he have a
huge.
shirt on?
Yeah.
I just pictured him not.
No, it was a very nice
I look like
ceremony.
that. I
It
wouldn't
was-
wear a shirt.
It was
I'm just
privately
saying.
attended.
Was
it
the
was
Generation
very
X?
small and
Yeah, the
intimate.
Shawn Michaels song.
Okay, was X-Pac there?
Yeah. Yeah, he was
I
there.
honestly didn't follow a lot of
me,
people.
man.
They
I
go
mean,
suck it
I
in
knew
his
who.
And
Oh,
now,
that guy.
I'm picturing
okay,
his
there we
crazy
go.
wrestling
Yeah.
thing now.
now you may suck it to your bread.
Yeah.
Pretty
No,
much.
But the
amazing.
one that I will always
I feel like that's where
remember,
the guy got punched in the face.
yeah, no, and that
That should have been the
I
one.
was a
actively
razor blade. He
filmed.
cut himself
I
and-
actively filmed somebody get stuck at a wedding.
That is the
Stuck?
coolest story
Stuck.
ever.
Oh,
Stuck.
okay.
No,
I was
no,
like
punch.
stuck
No,
on
you mean
one.
like
Oh, stab.
Stab.
Oh, even better.
See, I
Yeah,
thought you meant
and
that.
this is what
I did
happens.
too.
This is what happens in East Texas when you give people
So you
a
had to give
whiskey.
that to the
When
cops
you give
then.
people
You
a
had to give
whiskey
that
bar. Oh no! I told them the address of where they could come pick up a copy of the footage on
okay.
Monday
That is the
morning.
coolest
I was like,
footage
but
ever.
if you tell me right now you're taking my footage as evidence, that's
No.
not happening.
No.
Yeah.
I was like, here is a card. You can gladly come by Monday
get a
morning.
copy.
I will give you a copy of
Yes.
every bit of this, but I cannot show up to work Monday morning
Without
without
this
product.
footage.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I will not have a job, man, and you gotta respect that.
I'd have lied and
But
said
yeah,
on Bluetooth.
like
dude.
literally,
What's Bluetooth? I don't
somebody,
know. That's what I did. Get away from me.
somebody got a little
know.
bit. It was an open whiskey bar, so people
Never
were
had
just
that.
like it was
That's
just
right, okay.
shooting all over the place. Everybody just shooting whiskey like
Yeah.
crazy. And somebody had been told, like, "Hey, you're getting
They're
a
just
little,
passing out knives.
you're getting a little handsy with my wife out there on the dance floor, need
Grinding.
to." And then
Again, it's all bad news.
and then, it became like, hey, bro, you're getting really handsy with my wife out on the dance floor. Hey, we're just dancing. Like things broke out, and homeboy pulled out a steak knife.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
Stuck
If
it
you brought a
Steak
knife,
knife.
Steak
or
knife.
we provided
Off the
it.
table,
wedding
son.
party provided
Oh,
the
off
okay,
the
off the
table.
table. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
still kind of badass when you think about it.
I was hoping it was
That's
like,
prison status.
I was hoping it was
It
the
was
large
like-
That's
knife
rated.
for the
That's not
cake.
even.
Yeah.
The
Ran over
fancy
the
one
cake.
where they had to
Big-
buy.
Came, cops came. There was like the whole like, no man, it's okay. It's
So that was
okay.
just like
He's trying to,
the
like,
wedding.
get it out.
Okay.
He
And
got
it's
his
like,
best
are you really just okay with being stuck right
It's like,
now?
He's
here you
just
go.
bleeding
Yeah.
down the side.
And,
I'm
it's like,
okay.
how do you edit that out?
Thank you for being, thank you for being a
Things you don't put
groomsman.
in the highlight
Here's
reel.
a butterfly knife with your initials on it. This is gonna be great later.
Yeah.
I'm sure. No.
Yeah.
No, it's funny that you guys said that about your car because at my wedding something similar happened.
I'm sorry?
I was married.
I didn't.
I was married at one point.
I'm hearing that now.
Yeah, exclusive.
I got married,
Surprise!
and it was a similar kind of thing where like I had a car, and my buddies, I gave them the keys because I knew they were gonna do all the dumb shit to it. You do
Sure.
with all the whipped cream and shit. So they drew dicks on it. They were
Yeah.
married, all the cans and all this
Cans
shit.
behind, yeah.
And we had our wedding in the middle, like outside in a gazebo kind of set up in a park, and the reception was only like 2 blocks away. So what we wanted to do, like, so we all get married. So I get married, and then everybody, after they decorated my car, hightails it to the reception. Nobody gave me my keys back.
Damn, I knew I was coming.
So the guy,
They had your keys.
yeah, they had my keys. So I
Yeah.
get there, and I walk there. It's 2 blocks. I carry my wife's train,
yeah.
and we walk over there,
Yeah.
and we're just like, well, fuck, man, the
But she was
alcohol's
pissed.
here. I guess the car's fine, So like, we just don't worry about it. I go back there the next day,
Oh,
car
and
gets to-
no, somebody had broken into it.
Ah.
Somebody had broken
Fucked
into
up
it
with it.
decorated.
Yeah, that's
Decorated, fully knowing that somebody was. this
Well,
was supposed
number
to be my
one, you
marriage.
gotta
marriage.
remember, whoever's breaking into your car to begin with, that's a different kind of mentality.
Well,
But here's the thing, though.
there
I had
could be
nothing
gifts
worth stealing.
That's what I was saying. They were
Okay,
like, I
no,
really
no,
need some
no.
silverware.
No,
I had nothing
There's
worth
definitely-
stealing.
Yeah.
So here's
Right,
the
but they
thing.
didn't know that.
Well, they broke into it and took. Okay, I had a change drawer and they took all my change.
Okay.
That is, they had to take something.
Well,
they
yeah.
had to take
You have to.
At that point,
85 cents in pennies.
You have to.
I didn't. It wasn't even silver change.
I don't know.
It was just a
I've
bunch
had-
of fucking pennies.
I had 2 vehicles broken into, and they didn't steal anything, and that made me super pissed. Like one of them, I
Just
was in
take
college.
something.
Yeah, I had.
Why
This
should you
shit's
have
not even
to
worth
take
taking.
It was yeah. It was when the Xbox, the original Xbox
That is
was out. I had
insulting.
bought one like used, and I'd just gone over to our friends. We were playing it. It was under my seat.
They got
And
that. No,
they didn't. They smashed it.
didn't look.
Just $300 worth of window damage,
Yeah.
and then they dug through all of my shit.
Yeah.
Didn't take anything.
Yeah.
And it's just like, what? Just fucking steal the thing if you're gonna make me pay $300. Like,
make it
yeah.
worth my while.
yeah, like for the love of.
At least play the game.
Because at this point, because then the police are just like, well, we're not gonna give you fingerprints and
Right.
I don't even know
Like, well,
why.
actually,
Yeah.
I had a new Xbox on top of the seat. There's an old one underneath it,
Yeah.
but they got the new one.
Like a
Yeah,
year
yeah.
from now, they're gonna come out with a new Xbox, and I was testing
That was
one of
the one.
I was
those.
beta testing it.
You can call
Yeah.
Bill and Melinda; they know.
Yeah, they're all
Bill
about
and Melinda.
it. It's all good.
Oh, yeah, I got them on speed. Oh, except for they took that phone number out of my phone. That was
Yeah.
the one thing
That's
they
what they
stole.
did.
They also left me a shitty flip phone. I don't know what this thing is. They left it and
Yeah.
put all my contacts in it. Can I get my good phone? back?
Yeah.
On second thought, I think I know who it was. It was this girl that's labeled my ex-girlfriend.
Yes. The one,
It was
the,
my ex
yes,
for sure.
the
That
one
girl,
with the
the-
subtitle "Crazy Sauce."
I always joked I wanted to do that.
Oh.
They left their number in a threatening message and just give them the number of an ex. The cops would show up. He gave us this number. We really think he's just mad, but
Yeah.
for good faith, we have to show up over here and ask you these
Yeah.
questions.
He's gonna ask, so here we are.
Yeah.
You seem like a good person.
It's like,
were
on
pretty
Blue-
sure
it's
you
like,
did
it's
this.
like on Blues Brothers where he gives him the address of Wrigley
Yeah.
Field.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, do you have future technology that a man couldn't have right now? No, I didn't think so. Okay, we'll get out of here.
I like the idea that the cops would in any way follow up any of the ridiculous things that you told them.
Yeah.
You know that most of the car thefts, they just leave and go fuck that guy.
Right.
No,
Yeah, you mentioned
literally,
that.
and I can attest to that because my buddy Billy used to work, still does work, in the tobacco industry. And
Okay.
for a while, I was a rep. I went out to bars and took pictures of people's IDs and gave them free cigarettes, stuff like that.
Nice.
You know, all kinds of stuff.
you're one of those
And
guys.
He called up one night, literally, a couple of the bars right in my neighborhood, one literally across the street from my townhouse complex, was on his route. And he was like, hey man, I went in and to Ashford Pub and went to do my route. And when I came out, my fucking truck's gone.
Yeah.
Like somebody stole my truck. Like in the 30 minutes I was in there, meeting 15 people and
Is it a
signing
company
them up.
truck or is it
No, his personal
Personal,
truck,
okay.
but full of cigarettes.
Correct.
Because it's full of product.
Oh.
You got cartons of cigarettes.
Right.
So we're literally he comes over to my house, because I live right there, and I'm like, hey man, let's start cruising. Call up the cops on your cell phone, get them on the phone, let them know the description of the car, and
Yeah.
we literally found the car before the police did.
Mm-hmm.
We were sitting there probably about 5-6 blocks away
Yeah.
from where the car was stolen. We were like, no, literally, we are looking at the stolen vehicle and about 15 people that are actively underage smoking stolen cigarettes. They're in possession of stolen product as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, we're
As a
pretty sure
stolen
this is
vehicle.
really it.
Did you go over there and just beat the shit out of them and get the car back?
Right,
Yeah, the
Why
cops
not?
eventually
Ran 'em up.
the cops eventually showed up.
Oh, so
Yeah.
y'all didn't go
But-
confront him first?
No, I would not.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
Well,
no.
if they're
I
brazen,
would
if
end up
they're
in
brazen
jail.
enough, if they're brazen
'Cause
enough, first of all, to steal a truck,
yeah.
what else are they brazen enough to
Yeah,
do?
well, there's-
Two, if you
there's
hit them,
about-
you could end up in more
Yeah,
trouble.
There's
than
about
they did.
10.
Yeah.
There's about 10 of them
I'll
hanging
let
out at the
them
back
deal
end of
with
the
it. That could be an
truck
issue, yeah.
and stuff like that,
Yeah.
and 2 of us.
I work with teenagers, so yeah, that
yeah.
two,
Yeah.
one of them is crazy enough.
Things light up quick, man.
Uh-huh.
State night.
Things light up quick.
I'm telling
Yeah, I
you.
guess you're right. That being said, I would totally have walked up to that car. And
Oh, no.
Yeah.
just
I
yelled
would've
at them.
too.
It was.
I caught the guy that hit me. I got sideswiped when I was not. I guess I only had one. I've only been hit. I've hit twice when I drove Uber. The second time I got hit, actually did a legitimate amount of body damage or whatever.
Yeah.
And I tried to chase the guy down driving, but I didn't when I had passengers in the back. And then 2, the bumper was tapping the wheel. But of course, it had just happened. I didn't know what the hell was getting ready to happen. So I was mad. And they're like, yeah, let's get him. It was dope. They were cheering me on the whole time. I'm like, we're going to get this fucker. But I was hearing detectives said, and I was like, dude, I don't know what that is. Let me stop and look.
Yeah.
So in the time it took me to stop, get out and look, he got away.
They got out,
And I saw
yeah.
it was just a damn bumper on the top. Like, shit, I could have got this guy. Well, I'm driving about 3 weeks after I've already made my claim. We're getting the work done. And I see a car that fits the description. There's a long black gas on the side of it. And I'm like, dude, hold up. And I drove up and I took the picture of the car. I said, I think this is the damn vehicle. It's 6 cents. And I remember I asked a friend who works in law enforcement. I said, dude, I think I just found the car because I already made the claim.
The hit and ran you.
Hit
Yeah.
and ran. He was like, dude, at this point it's too late.
Yeah.
And I remember I asked the dude, I said, hey man, I think I was a senor, did you have a wreck or whatever a few weeks back? It was a Hispanic guy. And he's like, ¿Qué? No, hablo en español. And I was like, you had a wreck.
Yeah.
I wanted to get out so bad and stop him from driving away, but it was just like, there's nothing I could do about it. And with the cops, they say it's really hard for them to catch somebody like that.
It is. It is.
Well, yeah, especially because it has to prove who did the actual wreck, and then
Right, because who's driving the car?
That being said, always, if you get into an accident, 100% of the time, call the cops.
Yep.
Because even if you think you can handle it between the two of you, that fucker's going to lie.
Yeah.
When
Always.
Chris came to me, Chris was
That was our
living far
fugitive
away.
love period.
Indeed, it was. He was living in Houston. I was
on
living in
paper.
Austin, and he came to go to my Christmas party, my work Christmas party. We go to the lights at Holly on the access road, and a guy in the middle lane decides it's cool for him to take a left turn, even though the left lane is not a left turn. So I'm going straight. He takes a left turn into me.
Oh.
And we're like, oh, hello. No, you've just
Hey,
hit
crazy
me.
man.
What's wrong with you? So he pulls over, we pull behind him, and we're like, what the hell, man?
Yeah.
What's going on? And we get information, we change the stuff, and he's like, do you want to call the cops? And we were kind of like, he was giving us the information right away, so we were like, nah, it's fine. We got to get to this party. Just give us your information. You give us, we'll give you his. And then what happened was we submitted it to the insurance.
Okay.
And he totally told some fake story that we had done something that caused him to hit us somehow. I was like, hi. There's no possible thing I could have done
Well, and
to have caused
the
you to
thing
hit
was,
me. But
I had-
they took forever to pay it back because they were like, well, he says. And I was like, he's lying. And they're like, well, we can't prove
the funny thing is,
We don't know either of you.
I
Yeah.
had called the police because remember
Oh, yeah.
I called the cops.
Took him a minute to respond, though.
No, they never came, and they were the ones that told us to follow this procedure.
I believe it.
Straight up, they were like, "We don't really respond to accidents like that if nobody's injured or anything
Well,
else.
that's what I was gonna say, yeah.
Exchange information.
My
You're going to go
response- my
online. You're
response
going to
is
download this
they just
form.
become referees,
You're going to
dude.
fill it out.
A cop can't make a guy be honest. Like I always tell people is that like it's
No.
great to have the cops, but honestly they're there to keep the peace. And for me, just doing the whole driving thing,
Yeah.
sometimes they cause more problem than anything else because
They
now you
can.
have to sit here when the guy can give you the information. I had a dude that hit me. He ran into me on West 6th. And I didn't involve the cops. He was under influence. I gave him a break, but I said, here's the deal. I need your information. And I'm going to give you mine, but I need your information. And he paid the stuff. I think we met for 3 weeks or whatever. And he slowly paid it over time.
Sure.
And so I give people the benefit of the doubt. The problem with the cops is you have to wait for so long for them to show up. And
do.
unless somebody's hurt, there's not a whole lot that they can do for you.
No,
good thing,
unless
though, is
you're
that-
actively blocking traffic.
Yeah.
So, like
If your stuff's not broken,
Yeah.
get
The
off the
thing
road.
that ended up being the saving grace in that particular thing was that even though they just were on the phone, they did make a
there was an
Report,
incident.
yeah,
they made a
report.
report. So we specifically, when the guy lied, I was like, "Here's the name of the cop that made the report. You need to get the report
Did that
because the
help?
report says
Yeah.
We
Oh,
ended
good.
up getting the insurance money
Yeah, because I had
we were
actually
right.
called the police, and they have to make an incident report whenever you call.
So it was like we had record of it actually
Yeah.
I
happening.
mean, that goes past even being in a car accident because
Yeah.
my apartment was broken into
Oh, yeah.
last year, almost around this exact time, and it was one of those things. I didn't really get robbed. My roommate got a bunch of shit stolen. My room's a mess, so everything I had of value was under a bunch of dirty laundry and shit. So they didn't fuck with my stuff.
Keep your things of value under dirty.
God,
But
man, I need
done,
to make
Amy,
a pile
done.
of dirty laundry in my
Right.
studio.
But you know, we didn't find it until 2:30 in the morning because we got home late and it was just oh shit, everything's gone. So we called the cops. It's raining or whatever. So the cops show up, and the guy who robbed us actually left a graduation ring from an Air Force Academy.
Oh, yeah.
In a color. And I remember literally going and grabbing a pencil and picking it up and be like,
You mean your CSI on?
Yeah.
crime solved, officer. Go
Yeah.
get this man. I was
Yeah.
like, here you go. Who leaves evidence? I was
Boom,
like, I'm
boom.
gonna get justice tomorrow. And the guy with no gloves literally just grabbed the ring. He
Boom,
put it in
boom.
a shitty little bag. Didn't even write anything on it. And he was like, all right, yeah, I don't know. This never works out. We'll get back to you.
You're like, where's the guy with the dust thing at?
Well,
come on, get the guy with the dust broom.
At the same,
I had
at the
that
same
guy
time, I was like freaking out. I was like, look, it's a ruby, so you know his birthstone. You know,
You're off the
you
poop,
like this is there's ways to track this, and then all of a sudden over his shoulder thing, a call for an attempted suicide comes in, and I was like, but my PS4. You know, like I'm just sitting here, just like really trying to get him to be a detective about this, you know, and and they're just like, guys. There's literally life-threatening things happening
going on,
this way. We need to go.
And it's still a valid concern.
At that point, I was like, just leave me the ring then. I'll go vigilante.
I know, I was going to say, can I get the ring?
As you're putting on a mask, just
I'll
give me the
take
ring
it.
back.
I'll take it to UT and have the alleles examined.
We had started doing this. We had started doing the podcast not too early, and our old co-host sells graduation rings. So I was sitting there, I was like, oh fuck, man, I got my in. Like I could go all fucking. I could seriously go all.
This works right now.
Like what was that? What was that show with Kristen Bell? Something Mars. Veronica Mars. I could like go private investigator on this thing. And I was like, I have enough. But the cops just took the ring, never did anything for us, and I was just there.
This will sound more like
bit.
Kick-Ass than anything else.
Hey, man.
You sound you're on your way to Kick-Ass. Dude.
Hell
yeah.
You
You
could have
have
at
to get
least
a license to be a private investigator. I'm just saying.
Right, yeah.
You could have.
Oh, no, I didn't
actually
just
just
say-
gone out.
My
and
goal-
You could have.
I would not have done a good thing for them.
Actually
There would have been no
just gone out-
legality about what I did.
You could have just gone out and hawked the ring for $85 toward a new PS4.
Straight
and
up.
not
It was
even
an
have to
Air
deal with
Force
the
ring,
cops.
too. Which made me think, like, that would even make it easier. There's going to be somebody within 2 miles because they only took enough stuff to be able to run away on foot because they took tiny things. So I was like, someone within 2 miles of here graduated from an Air Force Academy who was born in March. How is your job any easier, cop?
It's July, actually.
That would have just led you
Was
to
it?
an
The Ruby is
apartment.
July.
Ruby is July. Okay.
It led you to an apartment where a guy had his Air Force ring
I
stolen.
was just about to say that.
And then to another
Now
apartment.
he's with you. Now he puts a mask on. You put a mask on. Y'all out there running. Okay, you have a bike tire.
got a PS4,
That
I'll
guy
swap
has a
you.
bike tire. Takes Now it's 3 people running around. The cops are like, you know that guy that was about to kill himself. We're gonna let that one go. There are 3 guys in masks right now. One dude has an
3
Air Force.
maniacs
The
running
guy has a
around.
bike.
I don't know.
We're scared.
This
They look
case
like
is
they
real
need
hot
business.
right now, guys. I don't know. We got some leads. We got a
When dudes
graduation
kicking
ring.
people's asses that were in the Air Force.
This is
There's
a great
two
movie.
2 mile radius though. Guys, they're just 2 miles away.
I want to watch this movie if Ashton Kutcher is in it, guys. I'm just
Okay,
saying,
or
like, this is a
Can we
great.
not put
Dude, where's my Air Force ring?
What's
That's
wrong
what I'm
with
saying.
What's the guy from Kick-Ass's name? Is that Adam or which one is that?
Real
is it Andy?
Andy.
Is it Andy? There's like 3 of them. They're like all like
fuck.
they're like the Pokemon evolution versions of each other.
Yeah, right.
What's the one in Kick-Ass's name?
Are you talking about like the actor?
Oh yeah, the actor.
Like the lead main
Yes.
kid?
Quicksilver? That kid?
Yeah.
Sure, no one named their child.
That's who I'd go with
Quicksilver,
over Ashton Kutcher at film.
Okay.
Oh, well, yeah, Ashton Kutcher at this point is old. He wouldn't be put in this movie.
Yeah.
I'm saying, no one would cast him as
have
like
you not looked at all of the Batmans ever?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but the
They're all
Batmans
40,
are
weren't
supposed
they,
to.
when
Yeah,
Val
but the-
Kilmer's like,
Yeah.
I can do it. I'm a
Michael
scribe
Keaton
for
is
you.
like-
Yeah, but the
5'1".
character's got to be old enough to have developed a business and to be doing. That's why the Batman's are older.
Actually, no.
But did he
because
inherit it though?
He inherited it from his father. Wayne Enterprises was started by his
Whatever.
dad.
Yeah,
But
no.
like he has to
The
be
technology,
older
maybe,
because
though,
it
you
doesn't
make
make
excuse for the
sense.
technology.
The
Apparently it was
technology
takes a
actually
while.
comes. The technology
Takes a while.
actually comes from other people. The Batmobile was
But
built
they
by
have to
another
take it, but they're
person.
constantly
Alfred
updating
actually
stuff.
has
There's still a
quite a
paper
bit
trail.
to do.
There's
He
still a paper
is
trail.
quite the Q.
Yeah. But there's still like
but-
the thing is you have to work for a company that's so rich that you can stop
that's-
contributing to its well-being by fighting crime at night
Well-
and still do well enough
Well, no.
to make you tank.
It's the fact. It's the fact
When
of
you're
there
rich,
are
you do
so
whatever you
many parts of Wayne Corp in so many different areas of investment that
Originally, they
he
were like- it was a
actually
medical
draws.
thing.
Well, his father
his
was
father
a
was a
doctor.
doctor.
Yeah, and it was medical
you
technology.
guys can go home.
Stuff
This
like
is
that.
what we're
Okay,
doing
and
now.
also technically, in the 80s when they started making the Batman movies, it was cool to have a 40s lead. Now it's not.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just saying, right now,
I don't know,
they're not
how
going
old's
to
Christian
hire
I'm not ready for a
somebody-
20-year-old
How old's
Batman.
Christian Bale?
Exactly.
I'm not ready for a 20-year-old.
Ben Affleck's 40.
Definitely in his 40s.
Yeah,
They're
Ben
all in
Affleck's
their
40.
40s.
I
Ben
trust
Affleck's
the
playing the
40-year-old
older
Batman.
Batman, though.
Batman
Yeah,
was
but now
one
Batman's
which
been
is
established
bullshit.
as being
He has to
old.
be
Why would you
40,
start
yeah.
off with Batman old
Batman
when
didn't-
Superman ages way slower than everybody else? Why do you want old Batman?
I've never understood Superman.
Well, the thing is,
Doesn't make sense.
20-year-old Batman
He
didn't
ages-
exist.
I just
So
like
what?
the idea.
20-year-old Batman didn't exist.
But
Right.
I know, but why start there though? why not start both at the beginning of their career?
Oh,
Because
he
we
waited
literally
for a
just
while.
Well, no,
started Superman's
that's
career.
what I'm
Why
saying.
not start at the beginning of Batman's
well,
career?
that's what I'm saying though.
Why?
Is that even if you start at the beginning of Batman's career, he didn't start until his mid
Because he left
20s,
when he
early
was
30s.
14. He took off when he was 14.
He went and studied for a good 10 years or
Right.
so.
Nah, yeah, like 20 something.
Yeah.
He came back in his like early 30s.
He had
Yeah.
to travel, get some strain.
Because Wayne Enterprises, by the time
love
he
you
had
guys.
come back,
I love you
had
guys.
gone the ways of Stark Industries and like gone into weapons development and
Right.
stuff
Oh, yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
That's where the
Like
money.
things had gone like by like
He
you
comes
said,
back
by
to
like
a company that's
15
like,
years.
oh, this is perfect for
Yeah.
Right.
vigilante.
And all this keep
they
not
have
being
all
the
these
CEO.
contracts.
Because Lucius Fox, who is of course the
Yeah, yeah.
character in there, has a lot to do.
Yeah, he's
with
the one that originally
development.
designed the
A lot of
Batmobile,
yeah.
and then they
It's
kind
on
of
Morgan Freeman's thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's where I was going. I was like, that was the mock. Like that was the first one.
Yeah.
Like he had to do a few, like Mark, and what do they call
The Mach 1.
The
Mark
Mach-
1. Mark 1.
Okay, so he
Mark
had
one.
like, but before he started actually fighting, he was like on 7 by the point, right? Because he didn't fight in the first one.
Oh, yeah.
He was the first one to get out of the cave, obviously, but he didn't start fighting until he got to
Right.
number 7. And so with Batman, I feel like the same thing happened from the Batmobile to the suit to
Yeah.
the Batarang and all that. He had some duds out there, so he didn't just jump out there and start
Well, if we're
fighting.
gonna like
yeah.
take it
I
all the
wanna
way
see
back to
that.
the beginning, Batman shot and murdered people all the time.
Oh, yeah,
heard
originally
that,
in
yeah.
the comics.
It was
Oh,
also
yeah.
set in New York. and, like, he was a fucking murderer.
Batman Year One.
Yeah.
Like whenever you look at the Reaper, like Batman is straight up practicing with a 9mm down in the Batcave, and he.
And see, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Why I hate old Batman.
wasn't afraid to
Batfleck,
kill.
because old Batman is not crazy. Young Batman, I
Now-
can see wanting to be like, I'm going to murder this alien who could do a lot of good because he killed a guy. He almost killed a guy that I know, as opposed to like old Batman who knows that murder's wrong and never shoots people and is
Yeah.
not a
But
psychopath.
will break some
Yeah.
kind of is.
Well, he's got.
Joker and the
also-
Robin thing, but still, though, man, that's not. Batman is supposed to be a man of such resolve that that's not
Yeah.
going to be the thing.
I don't know
But
that
you're
Batman
looking
has
at-
that much
He's
resolve.
Punches
the
people.
world's greatest detective. He would at least go talk to the
He
motherfucker before he
punches
makes
people and
armor.
incapacitates them on a road.
Oh, yeah, well, in that one-
This is like.
No, sorry,
Oh,
that
no.
movie he murders
Most
people all the
definitely.
time. He kills dozens of men in that
Oh,
movie.
oh, yeah.
Like
He gets hit and he hits his head on the concrete.
that have nothing to do with the shit with him and
Right.
Superman.
Yeah,
Like he
I
just
know.
kills dudes for being in
Yeah.
his ways. You know,
Yeah,
like,
no,
for real.
and that's just it. And that's that's something that me and my buddy from the Scary Dad podcast have talked about, because to us, it's the concept of, and I know Amy and I have talked about it, whenever you have developed a character, whenever you've come up with something, like to me, Superman Returns, fuck that shit.
Okay.
I'm sorry. It was horrifying. It's horrible, and it does such a absolutely horrible thing to the character of Superman. Because number one, for you to say
He's a
that
cuckold. He's
yeah.
technically a cuckold guy.
Goddamn.
No, but like
back then-
literally, number one, your planet's destroyed.
Well,
It's gone.
making him a
It's gone.
cuckold? Somebody's a
What does
cuckold.
going there do anything other than distract you from your purpose here, which is to save mankind?
Right, you have
Number
no other
two,
purpose, yeah.
number two, don't tell me that with your super hearing you didn't know that Lois was friggin' pregnant and you just left her. That's not the character of Superman, much less the character of Clark Kent that
Yeah.
was brought up by,
Superman
by
never.
Martha.
never would've cared about-
That is like utterly against the character and principle of that character.
Yeah.
So it was like from the first 15 minutes of the movie, I'm like, nope, sorry, not going to buy into any of this storyline.
That's what I like about old Batman, is that like as a character of no depth, you would never have that change. But
Yeah.
as a person who's dealt with putting people away forever and they just
Right.
keep breaking out and murdering people
He
and
eventually
ruining
surrendered.
the world,
But if we-
yeah, you're eventually just like, there's no way, there's no good way.
But
I'm
Dark
just-
Knight Returns, like
just
Frank
kill him.
Miller, somebody who a writer who loves murdering people in the most wanton, reckless,
he
chaotic
does.
ways,
He does.
still adhered to what Batman would always be. And Batman is a man who made a decision a very long time ago. That's what I hate about the Nolan movies, is the idea that this guy was like, I'll be Batman for 4 years, and then I'm probably gonna go fuck Anne Hathaway and let this poor beat cop have it. Like, Batman is a man that no matter what, even though he had to retire, was never gonna step back from his ideals. His ideals are what define him.
Yeah.
What he is better than this. There's all these people running around with guns in Batman masks, and he gets them all together and tells them we don't use guns, and that's because Batman doesn't fucking use guns. And Batman is that's all he is. He may not,
But he started with guns.
Yeah,
He did.
But he also
And he evolved.
But he also
he
started in
evolved.
a city that exists.
The kids that were born in the 80s think he never used guns. That's what we're going to stick with.
Well, no, I'm
Well.
just saying he only used guns for like 3 years.
We didn't know. I didn't know he used guns.
I swear to God, no, like
I didn't
like
know as a kid.
like-
I didn't know.
Well, it was
Well,
set in
and
New York. He
Yeah.
used guns. He was a murderer. He was the Punisher essentially in bat stuff.
Yeah.
Then they switched to Gotham City. They created their own city for him.
Yeah.
They redefined the character, and that is what it's been for 99% of the time. Batman's been a thing.
Guys,
is
comic
violently
books
against
change their shit constantly.
Batman does not
the
change.
idea, no. If you go through
I mean, he's been a
the
vampire, he's been a
canon of
pirate,
every single one of
He was
these
a real bad
characters,
at one point.
they have different
Yeah.
writers. They
Mad
have
Bat.
different
I just bought
people
it.
that are part
Just
of
bought
it.
the pirate one.
Like you have
Yeah, it's
to,
great.
you have to acknowledge that they change their
That's I know.
shit
I say that.
constantly.
Well, writers change all the time.
They're not maintaining characters. I can understand in the movie world if it were all
No,
one
no, no.
studio,
Here's-
even. You know what I mean?
Right.
If you want
But
to
it's not how it
distill
works.
comic books to their purity, it is absolutely soap operas for guys.
Yep.
Sure.
And now we're answering to a bunch of people who didn't care about comics 15 years ago, though. That's my whole thing. Is now my comic book characters that
I'm
I've
with
been
you. I
committed
mean,
to.
hey,
that
look-
I have,
look back there. You're seeing Jim Lee.
That's what
I
I'm
mean,
saying.
it's
Everybody else can
Jim Lee,
disappear
the
because,
Sorry,
like, you and I can
if
do
you
this
say
right
that
now.
that comic books are soap operas for dudes, then
Yeah,
tell me a
they
little
are.
bit about a soap opera because let
Okay.
me explain to you
Because-
how
all
that
right.
shit changes constantly.
No,
Okay.
They
and that's
change
just
who play
it.
them. They change
No.
what they care about.
Then
How
They
many
change
times
their
I
Achilles
cannot
heel.
tell you?
Was Susan Lucci like always the
I
same
can't-
character?
I
Yes,
cannot.
but she's one of the only.
Okay.
There's very few.
Yeah.
There's
I know
very
that.
few actors that have
I got the
stayed
edge
on
case for you.
soap
Oh my
operas
God.
forever.
The main difference.
One
between
round,
comics-
son.
Like, the main difference between comic books and soap operas is that soap operas are performed by live people that age, and comic books are on paper, and those characters don't ever have
Good
to
point.
die or
Because
change.
we only have that now
Sure.
because of movies. Just
So, like,
that.
however-
I used to watch soap operas with
When
my
I-
mom, and I watched one character go from being a nun to being married to being dead to being a clone to being a witch.
Holy
Okay.
shit, that's awesome.
Okay.
Amazing.
Okay,
That's tight.
and I'm sorry.
No, it was.
But wait a
The World
minute.
Turns?
Okay.
But wait a minute.
That's tight.
Wait a minute. The death of Superman? What happened?
Okay, Superman didn't really die technically.
Okay, but and
that was
there
in
you have
response
it.
to the thing.
Don't
Yeah,
tell
that
me
was
that
response
that
to-
in Dallas.
But you know what? They waited.
Don't tell me that that in some dream that happened in somebody's
Turned
dream
out it was
world.
a damn dream. Oh,
I would
How
say that
many
about the
times
split
is it?
identity.
10 more
How many?
seasons.
How many times
That's
is
the
it
only reason
where
you get
in a
to
comic book
Continuing.
Magneto's dead? He's gone.
dying.
Then,
Hey, guys.
nope. Boop,
How many
there's
times-
Magneto again.
But okay,
He's
Superman,
more
one of the
seasons.
oldest
He's
comic book
alive!
characters, he didn't die for like 70 years.
Yeah.
Like they didn't kill Superman
I'm with you.
until a really long time. Lots of comic book
No,
characters
93.
come and go. They
Wow,
die
it's
and they come
93.
back and they come back.
Over.
I've got the
Like-
whole side.
Like
Batman,
Batman, like
Superwoman
Superman,
died.
they held on to Superman, and then he
I've got-
died when I was like
Yeah.
7.
It was
I got that
93,
shit.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know because I have the
It's
comics
five.
signed by
I
Doug
did-
Hazelwood.
Dude,
Like,
I got it. He died. It was the biggest thing ever.
Yeah.
He was dead for a long time. They did a lot of crazy shit.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he was barely dead.
Hey,
he wasn't
hey,
dead.
let's put it this
He was
way,
in
all right?
solitude.
Shaq got a movie out of it.
Hell yeah, he did.
Dude, did you get like the bullshit behind Steel? No, the bullshit behind Steel though, because
Yeah.
like they were starting.
I know, I'm with you.
When they made Steel, they originally thought that the Batman. Okay, they made the Batman movies, and then they were working on that thing with Nick Cage, where they were going to do
Yeah.
Superman Lives.
Right.
Yeah.
And this was something that was like in the works, and
It was in the works for years.
they were about
that
to build
was
the
in
DC
the works.
universe then.
That was in the works when they were doing Spawn. When
And
they
then-
were
As a
actively
brother,
shooting
we
Spawn.
love Steel.
Oh my God, Michael
Black
Chadwick.
people love
Dude,
Steel.
I love Steel,
Oh
but they
my
also
God.
took all the comic book shit out of it.
I
I've
hear
never
you,
seen
bro.
it.
I don't care. I
It's
was
still
like,
a decent movie.
I love Steel.
It's some cheese,
I love
decency.
Kazam.
They even got the.
I love Kazam. I'll say that shit for
is that the
everybody.
fake one?
Wait, because
Hey,
there's
kid.
no one
That's
that doesn't
the damn-
exist.
No. That's
No.
not Kazam.
I love Steel, but
No,
they even had to make
Shazam
the free
is the
throw
fake
joke.
one.
No,
Shazam is
Shazam
the
is the
real one.
No, it is not.
It's Kazam.
No,
Kazam.
no.
That's a play on the
Shazam.
word.
Okay,
Kazam
stop.
is a play on the word.
Stop.
Shazam.
Shazam is a magic
Shazam.
word.
Shazam is an actual character in the DC comic
Yeah,
universe.
Shazam
Okay,
is a
Kazam.
word.
I'm
you have
just-
to say.
Kazam.
there's two. I'm just saying.
Kazam is a genie
It's
that a
that-
kid
Kazam
finds.
is the genie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, 'cause
Maybe
I was gonna be like,
Shazam is
there's-
what Captain Marvel says to become
Yes.
Captain Marvel.
But there's
Bring
the
it,
two
son.
movies. You know what I mean? You guys.
Fuckers.
It's the two movies. that
Sinbad set out for
did
all of
not
it.
That
have,
movie never happened. Yeah,
did not
everybody said
happen.
that.
Was
Yeah.
not real.
Yeah,
It was
Sinbad
Shaq movie.
Yeah, everybody's
that
just
was
they put it
real.
together. They stayed a larger than life.
That was
black guy.
news to me when
They
that
put it
came
in.
up. I had never, ever
Larger than
considered
life.
That's what it was.
Shaq is quite larger than life.
Yes, but like with Sinbad, it was like you'd be like, well, I could see him
Hey,
doing a movie like
kids.
that. Yeah.
I fucking love Kazam and
Say, yo.
Seal.
The idea I always had is I said
I love Shaq.
every film with the exception of Chips that Shaq has ever been in to this day, Sinbad could have done.
Yep.
Wait,
Like I said, with the exception of Chips, because with Chips,
although
he's
you know
Bluefish,
what?
he's
I like
dunking the ball.
reversing this.
I don't think Sinbad could dunk the ball quite that hard.
Although
Wait,
you know
what do
what?
Chips? The show?
Blue Chips. Sorry.
I'll say this.
with Nick Nolte.
I'll
Okay,
say
okay,
this.
okay.
I'd much rather believe a Kia Soul commercial with Sinbad
Yeah.
than with Shaquille O'Neal
How'd it
sitting
go?
comfortably in that
I know,
tiny
like he
motherfucker.
says, oh, hold on real quick.
I love my Kia Soul.
That should have been like an hour-long commercial with him going,
Yes.
And the
No,
car getting
that was-
right.
No.
It's a limousine. They zoom out.
that
It's like
commercial,
six doors.
That commercial, you know, it was straight up like a friggin' like a police academy
kids-
scene. You
His
know,
kid's
where
falling out of a hatchback behind
where
him.
like Hightower Washington comes up and like pulls the front seat out and sits in the back seat.
They just
Like
go
that's
to
what it
the corner
was,
and
dude. He's actually sitting in the back seat of the Kia Soul.
I
Not in
tried
the
to
front.
I don't know if I've
I
ever
love
seen
my
that.
Kia Soul.
I did a car commercial for Texas Auto Center,
Oh,
and I
really?
had to wear a damn. I wore pretty much. It's essentially a Bevo costume. The stupid ass head. Yes, I could not get in the damn car.
Oh yeah.
And they
Yeah.
were like, "Oh shit, he can't get in the car." I was like, "Y'all should
Yeah.
not hire a guy 6'3" to do this damn shot." So
Yeah.
they took me out, and they got the smallest guy on set, and he said,
it was
in-
Yeah, like 4'8".
It was so he was 4'8". It was just
Yeah.
stupid. It was the hat just wouldn't go, and so they're like, "Well, maybe we can do this." And I'm like, no, maybe we can do this. No, and I was like, "Why would y'all even try to make this scene work?" And I can't say anything because I'm just the actor. And then so what's funny is when I was looking at that, I was sitting there watching them do that. I was like, "Man, how the hell does Shaq fit his big ass on the damn
Exactly.
How did he fit in the car?
Exactly.
How did they not
Tell
make
me
a
that's
bottom
not
out of it.
edited.
I was like, he
Tell
gonna
me
be in
that's
the car.
not green
If he in
screen.
the car, he gonna be like this.
Yeah.
I'm Shaq and I'm in this car.
Yeah.
I want to let you know. He was leaned over looking at people like, I'm Shaq and
I
I'm in
would
this
think
car.
his
Yeah.
shoes come in the unit of measurement of Kia Souls.
Hey,
They do.
no.
You know, like
Here's
how
the
many Kia
thing.
Souls is
Here's
like
the
as
thing.
long as
I
your
got
foot?
size
It's spelled
16
Kia Soul,
feet.
SOLE.
I got size 16 feet. You would think that shoes branded by Shaq, a man with what? Size 22s? 22s?
He makes a joke. He says,
No.
22 says
Yeah.
4 more inches.
Yeah. No. You can't buy his shoes in over a size 14.
No.
No, he has them specially
Yeah.
made.
No. I'm talking about
He has
Shaq's,
the Bevo
Shaq's
size cat
brand.
murders.
I've said that.
You would
guy
think
in his
tall brand,
closet.
yeah.
You would think that someone like me with size 16 feet
Yeah.
would be able to go out and buy a
16
pair of
feet, you crazy ass.
Yeah. You know what to say about guys with big hands and big
That's nuts.
feet? We're fucking clowns.
Yeah, pretty much. I got a 14.
I rock a 12. I rock a 12, and I've been getting weird shit. But
I rock
Yeah,
a 14.
You guys
so I'm
won't
right
ever
there
see
with you.
Yeah, yeah.
sand or
And,
anything in that
you
white
know,
base.
but yeah, literally, like you would
know, my
think
hunting
that
and
Shaquille
trapping has
O'Neal's
always
shoes
been
would come in
pretty-
something larger than
I
a
I look at
14.
that and I get kind of pissed off when I see basketball players that have these shoes and like
Yeah.
they end at 15.
Yeah.
But the guy's like 6'7", 6'8".
Yeah.
And sometimes I find that they have really small feet. But like LeBron James, he's a legitimately big person.
Yeah.
With like big feet. Like if
Yeah.
he wears like a 18 or 17 or something like that.
Yeah,
It's
he's an
something big.
oversized.
Yeah. So
Dolly
I like
Parton's
seeing
boobs.
that.
It's
My-
Yeah.
that's my
like
forearm.
it's
I
like
can just
just-
put my forearm.
She's
in
one of my favorite quotes ever. It takes a lot of money to look this cheap.
Yeah.
If Dolly Parton made bras though, and she made everything less than a D, you'd be pissed off if you were a woman.
Yeah.
You'd be like, why is she making bras for women?
No.
that ain't
You
got-
buying
I
a
wouldn't be
Dolly
pissed
Parton
off.
bra and then fuck you. Get
Right.
outta here
Yeah.
with that.
Right.
Well, what I would think would be there needs to be that small section when you walk in that's like for the regular people, and
Yeah.
then the majority of the
Yeah.
like
But
here
her-
it is
her-
if
her
you're not
brand's
burdened
big.
with this
Re-
monstrosity.
So
of
it's
dick
basically,
size.
it's basically
Guys, do you not understand how
regular
commerce
lingerie,
I don't
busty, regular lingerie, busty, and Dollywood.
Again,
Nice.
my whole thing is
hanging out in that section.
there's a
it's-
whole store
I
dedicated to
love you,
women's
sweetheart.
underwear. I buy my shit in a 6-pack at Walmart, so it's like
Right.
And the Dollywood section is just brochures for getting a breast reduction. It's pretty much-
right or back braces.
You just
Yes.
you go there and it's just like a picture of a bra, but then next to it it's just like maybe you should go to a doctor. You're like, oh, okay.
Chiropractor and stuff.
Yeah,
The thing that fucked me up about Steel though.
the doctor. Hi.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Like,
No, a little bit back.
If we take it down the boobs road, I'm gonna say something stupid. So,
Boobs are tough.
boobs bother me. I went to Dollywood and I got to not go in. I have an issue with Dolly. Steel though bothered me because it's funny because Chris Christopherson is his dude in that is his like
Yeah.
weapons maker.
Yeah, no, he's
And then
straight
that
up.
movie failed, and he was like, well, I'm gonna do that again. And then Blade happened, and then he became the Whistler.
Oh, he is the guy in Blade.
He is Steele's
Blood
Whistler.
A.
He did
Please,
the exact.
keep
He
it
was
classy.
that exact same character.
Character in
That whole
Blade.
thing
Blood
fell apart.
A.
And then he was like, "Well, I'll do it again with Wesley."
And I love Blade too.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
Blade's a way better
Yeah.
franchise.
They actually didn't
sense.
shoot any new footage for Blade. They just reused.
Yeah.
Don't stop him still.
It's actually
It's
I don't know. I'm pretty
just
sure.
the Whistler stuff. Just the Whistler.
No, there'd be a lot of
Oh, you
times.
know, like,
over the
that's actually
shoulder.
sick. If you look at his shoulder, it's just a little bit bigger.
No, there'd be a lot of times where it'd be Wesley and Chris Christopherson eye to eye, and Chris Christopherson talking to him like this, like, I don't know, Blade. I
But
don't
then the
think
next
I can
scene,
make
they're
it
back
that
eye to eye
tall."
again.
And he's just like, dude, I'm right here. What are you talking about, man?
Yeah.
It's the Tom Cruise Mission Impossible stuff where
Yeah.
they say if you look closely, you'll see the girl looking up when she's or looking down when she's talking to him.
Oh,
There's like
Yeah.
long-standing rumors about Tom Cruise
Yeah.
and having to stand on boxes
Yeah.
for certain
Yeah,
scenes.
he's like
because Wesley Snipes
Yeah,
is
he's
tight for
He's small.
too.
He's
Yeah,
a very small guy.
He's not a big
Yeah,
guy.
yeah.
Some of Woody Harrelson for White Men Can't Jump are both small guys. So it worked out. But it became an issue when they have to play against
Real
other
good.
people. Like Dwayne Martin, who's a
Yeah.
classically
Better than
taller
everybody.
guy.
Yeah.
And then a bunch of the other people, even the older guy from Venice Beach. All of those
Yep.
are bigger guys. And
Yeah,
so-
yeah, they're all like our size.
Yeah, so
they're
you
all
had
like
these two
into,
runs
into
on
the
the same
6
team.
feet, into the
Yeah.
6 foot range.
Yeah.
Which did you hear about this new film that
don't
Woody
like it.
Harrelson just did?
Wait, I thought you were about White Men
What
Can't
was it
Jump.
like? Live in London?
No, I don't
something
like the
like that.
remake. They're remaking it.
Oh yeah, no,
I don't think
and
you
why
should.
reboot
No,
that, man?
fuck
Why
that.
reboot such a good,
Do a
such
number
a good
two,
message?
say it's their
Dude,
kids or
whatever.
something like
Dude,
that.
yeah, let's get
You
let's
know,
get Rosie Perez back out here.
I'll take that. No,
Dude.
season I'm good.
She's aged well. Like, let's get her back out
Pineapple
here.
Express, Rosie Perez is still
Right.
good. With
I
me.
want her to get. I want her to work her vocabulary for me. Like, she's still trying to do the Jeopardy thing because that was like
yeah.
her whole
Right.
thing. She was studying for Jeopardy.
Yeah, yeah.
That was- No. I handed. What was it? A construction worker's screws. You know, like I learned Puerto Rican. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want you to fuck. Yeah.
That was what that became. That was my Latina obsession right there.
Yeah,
When Rosie
boy.
Perez doesn't want to do movies anymore, John Leguizamo can just play her in the movie.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with
I
that.
can live with that. Yeah.
I'm okay with that. Just slap a little lipstick.
Right.
It literally wasn't this thank you for everything, was it?
Yeah, Julie, no, yes.
2 on
Long
food.
ass.
Thank you
Long
very
ass.
much.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why I got open minded when I was a kid. I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. It was
Like,
the first,
I got
like,
that Wesley
trans
Snipes
movie
and Patrick Swayze were in drag, but John Leguizamo caught me off guard.
I wouldn't go that
You were
far.
like, yowza.
I was a
I
teenager
wouldn't
and I
go
was
that
like,
far.
What
And
far
that's
are you-
and that's
am I going?
because
I love that
to
movie.
me it was normalized with bosom buddies.
Oh, that's true.
But-
that's true.
they weren't. I honestly, genuinely was like super attracted to John Leguizamo in drag, though. I feel like he was an attractive woman.
No,
Bosom
no.
Buddies, I felt like they were.
But in
ladies.
Bosom Buddies,
they were
they were
classy
just they
church
weren't
ladies.
they weren't men who wanted to be women.
No.
They were men who
Yeah.
got
Yeah.
a better
They
deal
were trying to bring
on
the
an
sexuality
apartment.
Yeah.
out of it.
Oh.
They were
Yeah.
just.
There were guys who couldn't find an
politely wearing
apartment who
church
moved
dresses.
Which-
into a
which, I
women's
mean, you know,
house by
yeah.
dressing
And Tom
up as women.
Tom
Yeah,
Hanks,
which-
great for him and all, but
Which
like,
the
he just doesn't have
the movie's actually based on Priscilla, Queen of the
John
Desert.
Leguizamo
It's,
just fucking
you know,
wore the shit out of her.
it's basically
Tu Wong Fu and
You've never
Priscilla
seen
Queen
Tu
of the
Wong
Desert
Fu?
are the same
No.
thing.
if I'm not mistaken, yeah.
Never
No,
seen it.
they're very different situations.
I don't know.
No, they very much are. I think it's a different situation altogether.
Okay.
Yeah, like
I gotta look that up.
Plus,
Yeah.
but Patrick Swayze even has like
Patrick
he
Swayze
wore
was
makeup
beautiful as a woman.
Oh,
so
yeah.
well.
Beautiful.
I haven't seen it.
So well.
Oh, it's
He
a
has
wonderful
lady
movie.
I gotta
eyes.
look it up.
He has
Yeah.
lady
It's the
eyes.
jawline, chin area. That
I know.
Oh,
I think.
actually, that was the most beautiful
No,
part of
no.
the whole thing.
It's not a feminine feature.
Their
on
makeup
it.
work.
You
Whoever
don't
was the
see
makeup
enough,
artist in that
you don't
movie.
spend a lot of time with
What's
enough
it called?
trans women.
For what's the movie with Jack? What's
Jack
it?
Nicholson?
Yeah, what's the I Feel Pretty with Adam Sandler?
Anger Management.
Anger Management. Woody Harrelson, I felt like he
Yeah.
briefly
Was that pretty
reprised
good?
his
Not
role
here.
Yeah.
from Tu Wong Fu or whatever. Wait,
Yeah.
was he in Tu Wong Fu or not?
Woody
think so.
Harrelson?
No.
Okay, good. That's what I was about to say. I was laughing because he wasn't in it, but he was playing a woman. He was a trans or whatever, and it was the funniest thing ever. Because I was like, wow, he could have fit into that movie like almost a decade early
Oh, yeah.
because he was dressed as a woman as
Plus,
well.
he was young at that point, so he probably could have looked regular.
You're right. Him and Wesley Snipes would have just kept playing along with each other.
Yeah,
Which-
Wesley
I
Snipes
didn't know.
was a weird-looking dude.
I was supposed to stop talking or something.
No. I'm looking up Patrick Swayze in this movie.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I gotta look it up because I think it's
I like the way it was
Go
like
to
Patrick
work-
Swayze.
I mean, the only
5'10".
reason Wesley Snipes is what we're talking about because he was too muscular. I think.
How many
because he had
people's heights are you Googling?
Ripped.
But John Leguizamo was like the perfect.
Wearing that dress,
Right,
like
he was the
his
perfect
dress
level
choice
of
was
feminine,
on
but you
time.
could still say that was him. But at the same time, you could still say
And he
a woman that
also
looked like that.
he grabbed me as the kind of like if I were in prison, you know, like
you had to just make one.
yeah, like that was.
Yeah.
Be,
Fuck Murray
there's
Phil.
gonna be those little
Fuck
chicken.
Mary
You don't have to
Phil.
give yourself those caveats. Do who you want to do whenever you want to.
No, I just realized that like if I needed a man lady in that context,
Yeah, but
like
there's
I
a
would go for
difference
the spike-
between
she was-
prison love and man love.
Yeah, completely.
I would want to
Prison
find
love is really more
I would wanna find
surprise
love.
love.
beautiful.
Dude.
You don't.
Classy,
You don't.
beautiful.
You've gotta see
and
the
like
movie.
she, like the way he plays it too is like I'm a fucking lady.
You've
okay?
got to see
Yeah.
the
There's a
movie.
there's a
The
difference
characters-
between
John
a beautiful
Leguizamo is like I'm a
person
sexy little
No, no, no.
and a
hottie.
physically beautiful
No, you gotta
She
see the
is a
whole
classy
movie, though.
motherfucker.
The
Yeah.
whole.
That
He
Yeah.
teaches women how to wear makeup.
No, no, no,
Everybody's
no.
allowed to have their
I
creed
swear
or
to you, you
disagree
can't
on
just
that.
look at.
Yeah.
I think
Just picture still photo.
Get a
I
rectangle.
get you.
No, it's a different situation altogether.
yeah, his bone
It's
structure
totally
is not-
crazy.
I'm
You're
actually.
so
Ideal-
hilarious.
it's not
I think
ideal.
like out of all of that, Wesley Snipes was the one that kind of like surprised me, just in the sense of like getting in with it, like
Yeah.
really kind of
Yeah.
like committing to it, like
But the
everybody
fact
else
that
did.
you were attracted
Well,
to John Leguizamo was a
well,
wonderful
and-
thing.
Dude,
You
John
gotta
Leguizamo, I'm sure, is a
consider- you
gracious
gotta
lover
consider-
and would be very open to talk about stuff. That's
I
all. I'm
will.
saying.
He
That's
seems
true.
like he would be
That's
all
what
about
inspired me
being
to do
Little
stand-up.
Spoon.
Well, especially in the movie,
Oh.
she was the little hottie. She was like
Yeah.
John Leguizamo's character
Just
was the one
spicy.
that everybody was like, ooh,
Yeah.
mama.
Yeah.
Wesley
Hey,
Snipes
mama,
was
mama.
like, I'll
Yeah.
fucking punch you if you disrespect me. And
Right.
then
Yeah.
and then Patrick Swayze was
Mama
teaching
agree.
all the ladies
Yeah.
how to embrace
be a
their own
lady.
sexuality,
How to be a
and how to
lady.
be a lady, wear
Yeah.
makeup,
I was like,
be sexual.
guys, now we're into it, and Courtney got us a.
No, don't point that at
gave
me
us
like
an
you don't
in on
want to
comedy.
hit that. Fuck that. Are you for
I said I get it. I get it.
I
He's the
thought
most
you said
distracting one out of the
again.
group.
I thought you said again like you
No,
were
no,
making
no, no.
Wait, Courtney just said that he got into stand up because of John Leguizamo. We're an hour in. Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, sorry. Yes.
That's a real thing.
Why
I
do
was
you
like,
do comedy?
tell
Why?
us,
Why do you do that?
tell us about
Is it the best?
that. I mean, did you see John Leguizamo do comedy?
It's like
So what I
HBO
did is his HBO special. I guess it was Freak or whatever. That came on when I was a kid, and I remember I saw the movie
Yeah.
for the past and all that.
Where'd you grow up?
I grew up here in Austin. I'm actually born and raised Austin, the unicorn.
Man, we've had a bunch of those recently.
That's super
weird.
I've been meeting a few people. Like when I drive, because I drive a rideshare or whatever, I'm always surprised when I get a person in the car that actually is from Austin.
Yeah.
And so we usually all connect when we're talking because we're not doing the normal, how do you like the weather here? What do you think of all this craziness here? Instead, it's what neighborhoods you grew up in. I think a lot of times when you meet somebody from Austin, you don't believe them just yet.
Yeah.
So everybody gives them the test. It's like, oh yeah, what neighborhood are you from? Or what school did you go to? Or, you know, even the college kind of comes up, but a lot of times you want to find out how long they've
Like
been
high
here.
school.
But then when you find out that a person was born here, which is totally different than a person that moved here young, which is totally different than somebody that moved here, you know, in college or right after, you're like, oh wow, and y'all start having like a bond. And then of course it kind of goes down to, oh man, you remember when and you start throwing these things out. Like I just drove a lady that was she wasn't elderly, but she probably has been here since pretty much a majority of her life. Like she moved here probably in the 60s or whatever. And so we were talking about things like Aqua Fest and how the Trail of Lights used to be when it was Yule Fest and all the weird things that I remember as a kid. And I remember I was asking her about the it's the Coliseum, but it's the other Coliseum when the Long Center wasn't called the Long Center yet. It was like the I can never remember what the title of that thing is now, but it's now the Long Center. But there used to be another Coliseum. I don't know if y'all familiar with auditorium stores and all that. So where like the little spiral garden thing is. There used to be an auditorium right there, and I remember that's where I saw my first circus.
No.
Yeah, and I remember getting terrified because they would do as a kid. I wasn't too keen on loud sounds or whatnot,
Sure.
like the stuff that would startle you. And I remember there was a clown that got shot out of a cannon,
Oh.
and it freaked me the hell out. Whereas I just went sprinting out of the thing. Yeah, and my mom hated it because
Like
we
at
worked.
the audience, like
Yeah, I
Here's
ran
a
out of the
kid-
tent. I
there's a
ran out of the
clown for
circuit.
you now.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
ran out of the circus. I was like, ah!
Coming at you.
Yeah, and my mom worked with kids, and so it was so crazy because all the other kids were fine, but her kid was the one that would freak the hell out of me. And even during, I think even during Aquafest, they would do fireworks or whatever, and I would freak out during the fireworks. So
Oh,
would you
yeah.
like earplugs or anything?
I didn't. Nobody ever thought to give me earplugs. It's so stupid.
That's so crazy. We're about to have a baby. I'm pregnant right now, and they keep telling us you got to keep it loud in the house
Yep.
so the baby doesn't get
Yeah.
startled by stuff.
Yes.
So now
Be
I'm
normal.
like,
Be normal.
Now I was like,
That's
oh,
it.
okay, great. We're just gonna keep it real loud. There's gonna be fireworks constantly.
This is the weird thing for that statement is And it's not just for while you're carrying. Once they're born, they want you to do the same thing as well. Now, it's so strange because naturally you want somebody to be quiet so your child can sleep.
No, you have to normalize them to your environment.
to your schedule.
Their senses are lit the fuck up, right?
Correct.
Like everything is just assaulting them all the time.
Correct.
Anyways.
And you're having to kind of balance that out. Yeah, because what you're doing is you're calibrating your child. Is what I was told. My mom, it was so weird because whenever we stayed with my mom or whatever for like holidays and stuff, I would be mad because she's a loud person. She's a loud, boisterous person. I am as well. And she stays up late. And I'd be like, man, well, it's so late. Why are you still awake and got the TV up and all that? She's like, you better get that child used to a lot of noise because if not, y'all are never going to be able to sleep or be normal because they're going to be constantly walking around on eggshells because they're napping, because they're asleep or whatever. And so that was something that took me a while to learn. With the second one, we had it knocked out already, but with the first one, we had 2 years where it was just us and her. And so we kind of did a lot of things on that trial-by-trial basis where we're learning and figuring it out. I mean, of course, we don't have it figured out anyways, but we were trying
Nobody ever does.
Nobody ever does. And I love that because they've said the best advice I ever got with children was no two are the same. And don't treat them that way.
And don't be afraid to drop them.
Yeah, well, no, that's a big thing. Because mine fell. I left my job. We lived in Cedar Park when my daughter first fell.
Better than you think.
It has to happen.
When my daughter first fell, I remember I left. I was to work Parks and Rec, and I left a basketball game. I was like the scorekeeper / ref.
Yeah.
And I get this call. Oh my gosh, Simone fell. And I remember looking at my supervisor. He said my eyes were like silver dollar size. Yeah. And I said, dude, my daughter just fell. I gotta go. He said I didn't even give him a chance to answer, but he knew that it was my first child and that I was gonna go no matter what. And now with the second one, he'd fall and all this, and I'd be like, is he that bad? How much
like you could
blood?
be talking to you could be talking to the surgeon. Like the surgeon could be like, I'm putting his knee back on.
I've seen kids break their arms on the jungle gym, stuff like that.
Dude,
so it's like, hey man.
So I have a godson who actually is autistic, and when he was younger, when he gets hurt, he doesn't cry.
Right.
Yeah.
So like there were so many times where he would come back to his parents just looking like he got in a bar fight or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Because like he would make no noise and he would fall, hurt himself, whatever, and they just have to like kind of piece together what injury really could have led to these things.
Yeah.
And I was like, that seems even more terrifying.
That's a big thing, I think, is you want to make sure that you communicate with your children that no matter where their skill level is as far as being able to communicate, is that they let you know whenever there's something irking them, bothering them. The downside of that is then you have a child like myself that's very expressive. Like as a kid, I mean, my sister was 13 years older than me, and so for me, I learned very early on how to communicate with adults.
Sure.
And so it kind of carries me now as an adult. I'm a very expressive person.
Yeah.
If I have a thought, I'm going to express it. If I have a chip on my shoulder, you're going to know about it.
My little cousin's very much the same way. He was brought up very close to myself and my cousin and my brother, and we were all like a good 12, 13 years older than him.
By
the time he was 4 years old and in school, like, no, he was Ricky.
Right.
And it's like, no, your name's Eric. No. Like, no. Teachers knew him as Ricky because he was like, no, my name's Ricky.
He told him what to call him,
he was like, no, this is what I've decided my name is. Eric's cool, but no, I'm Ricky.
That's so cool.
Like, straight up named himself. And that's, like, the teacher was like, oh, no, his name's Eric.
I wish I had done that.
Like,
see, I'm the same boat.
Wendell.
I'm Courtney. Thank you. I'm Courtney, and I want to do that. What'd you want to go with? That's all right.
Hawkeye.
That's all right. See, the cool thing about
Every
this
time.
is that we
I
always
love a
have that
MASH
moment.
fan.
We have that
Not
moment.
from there.
No, it started with MASH. It's a comic book thing. It's a comic book thing.
I know. I'm just playing.
See, the cool thing about that is there was always that part in school that I remember, especially being a guy that has a unisex name, is that the teacher would and they didn't do this because my name was Courtney. They just did this because it's what they did for everybody. They'd ask and say, "Oh, hello, Courtney. So, what would you like to go by?" And at that moment, I wish I would have thought of something cool.
You know what I did?
I didn't have C. Biddy. I never could think of a good name. And we usually would settle with Court because sometimes I think they felt uncomfortable calling me Courtney. Yeah. They thought I felt uncomfortable with it, but I told them I have worn this name forever. I'm okay with it.
I hated my name for years because the computer only took 8 characters.
Yeah, see, I have a long name as well. And
So it was always Christoph. It's like
I kind of like that. It sounds a little commandant-y, but yeah.
It's Christopher, but Chris is cool. Like,
wow. Scantrons used to kick my butt, and for the longest, I would either have to be Courtney Creighton or I'd be Courtney Creto. And so like my Scantron only took so much of my freaking name.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, that's so funny.
The first time a teacher asked me that, I said, how about dude? And he went, that's fucking stupid. And I'm not gonna do that. He was my band teacher. He was like Whiplash.
South Carolina.
It was like Whiplash. He was like, that's fucking stupid.
Nope.
And then he called me that from then on out.
Oh, good
because
for him.
I was good enough. I was good enough at my instrument that I was noteworthy. So he was like, "All right, dude."
I like that, dude. I respect.
The thing is, though, is he almost had a heart attack and he had to retire. So like he took it with him. Everybody that's ever given me a nickname. There have been two people in my life that have given me a nickname. One of them almost had a double bypass, and then the other one overdosed like 3 weeks after giving me a nickname.
So pretty much,
Call me
don't
Wendell
give
Payne.
Wendell a
Wendell
nickname.
Payne, I like
or
that.
you're
I like
gonna
that
die.
too because it's like a play on words and also it kind of sounds badass, but it's not really. You know,
like
the
Max
thing is,
Payne.
but like Courtney, that's French, right? Is that like,
I think so because I think
is that why your mom?
No. My mom got that name for my let's see. So my great grandma is Benjamin Frankie,
Okay.
and then my great grandpa was Curtis Kersey. And so she wanted, when I was born, to somehow pay homage to them.
Sure.
So Benjamin, my middle name is just Benjamin. My name is
Okay.
Courtney Benjamin Creighton.
Yeah.
That's for my great grandma. Well, my grandpa, they couldn't think of. Supposedly the story is they couldn't think of a name close enough to Curtis, which I'm still to this day trying to find one as well. That doesn't sound like a total weird thing. But
Otis.
I like Curtis.
she didn't want to do Curtis. She said she didn't want to do it specifically
I
with
like
that name.
Curtis.
And
I
so
like it.
It's salt of the earth.
she got close to it, and then she was trying to figure it out. And supposedly a nurse walked in, hearing their conversation, and said, "Oh, why don't you do Courtney?" Now, to this day, I don't think that the nurse listened to the whole conversation and realized that I was a boy. I think she just walked in and said, "Curtis, y'all need something close?" Courtney walked out. And I was like, "Thanks a lot." So now
But at the same time, why would they be wanting to name their girl Curtis? You know, like she just literally had a thought whip.
She screwed up. Blah. Yeah.
She didn't even work there, actually.
She
Yeah.
probably
words.
did. We need
There
to
you
find
go.
this lady.
She's a homeless lady who
I need
just
to track
wanders
this lady
in
down.
y'all's names.
30 years ago. 31 years ago
She
now.
had played a party game the night
31
before.
years
She was
ago
still
as of
riding
last
hot
week.
on that.
Yeah.
Right?
Actually,
Oh my God,
I
happy
don't know where
birthday.
my name
Thank you.
comes
Yeah.
from.
Really?
Wait,
Well, it's
tell
a
us
decent
about.
name.
Tell me about the John Leguizamo. We got off.
Okay,
of
cool.
that.
Sorry, yeah,
So
weird.
John Leguizamo was a guy I saw as a performer, and for me, I get a lot of friends give me. We're able to cuss, right? I think we.
Oh,
can cuss.
absolutely,
Okay, good, good.
Have we
A lot
not
of friends
sworn
give me
1,000
shit.
times?
Sorry,
But
we interviewed somebody earlier. I didn't want to curse in front of them, so I haven't done that much.
No, that's cool. A lot of friends give me shit about John Leguizamo not being a stand-up, and I say, for me, I can see where they're going with that. Not the stand-up part, but he's an entertainer
He's a
and
storyteller.
and that's what I said. I come from a background of storytelling, and I loved everything about that special, from the fact that he danced to the fact that he made me feel like I was traveling to different places. Whether it was the aunt's house that was inside was the same color as a avocado or whatever.
Yeah.
All of that stuff, and he gave you drama. He gave you all kind of different things, and I was like, wow, because I would watch late night television as a kid. And I would love, they'd talk about they're going to do something, but they would never go. They would just stay sitting at the damn desk. And as a kid, I was like, this is so freaking boring. And then when I saw that rocked my world. Like, that was everything. Freak, it changed everything to where I was like, wow, I like that. And I didn't know at that moment that that's what I wanted to do. But I had an idea. As a kid, I always grew up saying I wanted to do something creative, whether it was being a cartoonist or an architect. But, I just didn't quite figure it out
like
yet.
doodling?
Huh?
You like doodling?
Yeah, I'm a color actually. I color.
Dude, yeah, okay,
Yeah.
so I went... We need to hang out, man.
Yeah.
I dropped out of Clemson for graphic design.
Me and my
Like,
kids
fucking
do
around,
this.
like,
This is what me and my 6-year-old. I've discovered that he is the doodler for us now,
yeah.
and he loves to sit down and we'll get like a giant card, like a big old carved piece of paper, and we'll just sit there. Like when my ex-wife, remember, our table in the kitchen was just a giant canvas for me just to come home and blow off steam, because we lived out in San Marcos. We were just young kids. We didn't have cable. We didn't have anything else. And so I would just color it on end, just sitting there coloring all these goofy little shades and stuff. And what's so funny now is I see a lot of those traits in my son and in my daughter. My daughter, she's more of the one that acts out, which is a little bit more of who I am. But my son, he's a little bit more methodical, and when he writes something out or he draws something, you can ask him about it, and he has a story, he has a name, he has all of this stuff for whatever looks like a little blotch or whatever. And it's crazy because the teachers now talk about it, and they go, "Oh my God, I love him. He does this, that, and that, and that, and that." And so it's so funny. I just got my birthday card from him.
Nice.
They mailed it in, and he has like a little doodle on there. And so I can't wait to talk to him a little bit later on. I'm gonna say, tell me what you did on the card.
So you probably remember
that's
that
great.
growing up, because like I was the same way. Like a lot of the times when I would draw when I was a kid, and he probably does the same thing. Like I would be telling myself a story as I was drawing it. So like everything that would happen had an order in the way it happened. I would make it logical and shit, but I would go all the way down a page and tell a story in like small bits and pieces.
Correct.
And it's awesome that you can like back that shit up, dude.
Yeah.
Like all that my family did was just like.
Right.
That's great. That's great. Look at him. He's doing stuff. He can read right now. That's amazing. What's going on right now? And, like my family was just supportive, but they had no idea how to like respond to it. I came
Same here.
from a very my brothers and sisters were like 12 and 13 years older than me and all that stuff.
Same thing, man.
And so like everybody was just real proud that I was creative, but they had no idea how to like.
There's no way to
Nurture
culture it.
that.
Yeah. They had nothing to back it up. Like for real, they were just like,
No way to
it's cool.
focus
This will
it.
probably pay off. That's all. Like that was like the attitude. Like this is probably gonna pay off later. We're just like really proud of him.
That was the strange thing
But
for me.
they couldn't give anything.
I ended up getting into sports, and so all of that stuff kind of went by the wayside. Being a guy, you didn't get a chance to act out and be goofy anymore. I would still dance, but the stuff was less and less and less. And for me, for comedy didn't come back up for like decades later. And I had my divorce, and I had a lot of time on my hands, and I always said I wanted to go try open mic. And so for 2 years, probably back in 2008 or 2009 to 2010, something like that, on my desktop, my work PC, I had a list of open mics in Austin on there. And they were titled, like, one was like, "Oh my God, are you really going to do this crap?" And another one was like, "Holy shit, you're really going to do this."
Yeah.
And so for 2 years, I sat there wanting to do it, but I just didn't do it. And I remember, like, being married, I would be like, I don't want to go home and then try to leave because we got kids. And so I was like, I won't do that. What I'll do is I was doing school, I was working full-time, and I was full-time dad and husband. And then once the husband and dad thing went out, I was like, okay, and I graduated, and I was like, okay, well, what now? And I was like, well, go try it. And so I went and tried it probably back in 2012. I think it was November 2012. Let's see, it had to be November 16th, I think, 2012 at Coletown. And
What a
Remember.
great way to process your emotions, isn't it?
it was.
It's an amazing way to process that sort of thing.
I have a picture, and every time I look at that picture, it takes me right back to that moment. And
My
it
marriage
helps me
falling
out.
apart made me move to Austin, and it took me a year to be like buildings, and then I started doing comedy.
I just finally knocked out my first divorce material or divorce bit. I actually take in my act now. I actually legitimately use it. I just now did that maybe 2 months ago.
See, I didn't come out like hot with like my ex-wife, but
Right.
I just had a lot of thoughts about.
Same here.
Really
Like
not.
there was just
I
a
had
lot
no
of
idea.
things that I just was angry about. Then all of a sudden I realized I could like vocalize in a way that like there was a focus in a changing environments, like leaving the place where I made this dumb
Changing
thing.
the environment
I'm in here, and
is
I
the
was just
biggest
like
thing.
I was just like air, and I could breathe again, and all of a sudden moving here really helped to just level out. You know, and I
That's
get
all
that.
it is. It's a leveling out.
That's
because I
right
think
around the
it's
same
you.
time you did it.
Uh-huh.
And like how old are you?
30. I'm 31 now. As of last week, I'm 31.
Oh shit, I'm gonna be 29 tomorrow.
There we go. All right. Hey, happy birthday, February
Hey,
boys.
Yeah, thanks. February next day. It's
I'll
bullshit. Yeah, no, I like high fives.
No worries,
It's
man.
something they can't see. It's good.
It's-
Whoever's
And
listening.
it peaks real loud into the
There's a
headphones.
bunch of
They
them.
love it at home.
It's so strange though, but like I know that so many people, like a lot of people in performance art in general, you get there from so many different paths, but a lot of times, whether it's a loss or a gain or whatever, there's something that drove you there, and I love hearing about that from other performers because like I drive, and a lot of times when I'm driving, it's amazing that we can usually pick up on each other. Like they get in the car and they'll be like, "Oh, what were you doing?" And every now and then I slip up and say I was at an open mic or I was at a show, which then I'm like, "Oh no, they're gonna do the tell me a joke,"
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
every now and then it'll be a person like I'll have like a circus performer, like because Austin gets a lot of traveling, whatever. And I had a few people in my car from Cirque du Soleil. And it was the coolest thing ever. They were flipping all over the car. No,
I was gonna be like, I kind of like just the most silent ride, and they're just like in full makeup and get up and shit, and they're just
One of them is dressed as an egg.
I'm just looking at him like, can you do a trick? No.
Yeah, they're just sitting there, just
So,
like, I don't want to talk about it.
You
You don't want
remember
to talk
any of
about
that
it.
there circus stuff there, do you?
Right. Are you sure?
Parlez-vous? Stop.
I
Stop
know.
right there.
I know. Right. I start trying to speak French to him.
I'm gonna ride on top of the car if you keep talking to me. I'm gonna do a handstand and you're gonna take me where I'm
I would
going.
love to see
If
that.
only people actually did that to them like they do it to us, where they're
Isn't it
like,
the weirdest thing?
tell me a joke.
Right.
And you're like,
Hey,
I want to be like, oh,
Eat
so
your
you're an
whole fist.
accountant?
And then they do
Hey, could you do my
complete-
taxes? Like,
Right.
get the fuck out of here.
And then they do completely in French.
hey, lick the back of your kneecaps or something.
They're like,
Yeah.
When they ask for a
yeah,
joke,
it's a funny ass joke in French.
because I don't do stand up, I just do improv and sketch. And so, like when I say like, oh, I do comedy, and then people always go, oh, tell me a joke.
Right.
I just go, oh, I'm not that type of comic, and then they stop.
Nice.
It's like, oh, I'm not that type of.
I
comic.
tell people
And
they're
they just-
terrible for asking me that.
They just shut up.
Yeah.
It's,
Like not terrible,
You're a
but like,
You
horrible
should
human
just
being.
have a rubber chicken in your bag at all times and just pull it out, and that's
why?
it.
Like I told you, like I have a
Just
pocket
rolled
joke
by
that's
corn.
terrible that makes them mad
Yeah.
about asking me.
Good.
And it's the worst thing ever. I just have a joke that makes the whole conversation about me doing comedy end because they're like, "Oh, you're not a good comic." And I'm not even going to tell the joke again because I literally just brought the story up recently, and it sucks. And it's
bad-
literally
bad
it's
joke.
what it is a speed bump for this whole conversation
Right.
because I fucked up by being like, "Yeah, I do comedy."
yeah.
And then there's like, "All right, tell me a joke," and then I tell them that, and they're like, "Oh, you're not good at it. Then let's talk about something else." And then we can just
Mission
move on with
accomplished,
our life.
though.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
just like this is a joke that I wrote. I knew was shitty, but this is like my ejector button. You know?
Right.
Like, you know,
Right.
This is
It's the
my
ripcord.
Yeah, this is the drag shoot.
like I
This
go
is the
out.
drag
I
shoot
go out and
to
I do
stop
the
it.
worst like vaudeville carrot top comedy. That's what you should know about me. Don't come find me after this. You know, like that's
The
kinda
funny
thing.
thing that you mentioned, Courtney, about how people a lot of times develop comedy from like they had a tough time and then they start comedy. I feel like I get that a lot when I'm teaching classes. You know, and you're like, so why are you starting this? And it's like something will have happened to them where
Always.
they're like they finally something happened. The straw broke the camel's back, and finally they were like, I'm going to do something for myself now.
Yeah.
I'm going to finally open up and allow this to happen. That being said, myself and a few other handfuls are just sort of people who are like, I've literally been on a stage every minute of my life forever, so it seemed like I should hang out with other people who do it. So for a long time, I performed just everywhere and did all sorts of stuff.
Nice.
And then finally was like, oh, I can go to an open mic and people will validate me. That seems fine. And then when I found out that I could do like improv and there would be other people near me and do it with me, I was like, oh, okay, this is a little bit better. So it's not just me being all
stage
like,
yourself.
look at me,
Right.
I'm real funny. Like it was just like
It's a
okay.
group of y'all going, look at me,
Yeah.
we're real funny.
But
Yeah.
it's a bit easier that you kind of blend in a little
Totally.
bit more.
I started, with that said, my mom, although she was, she was Parks and Rec, she did a lot of presentations and all these other things, even in church, and then my sister was a soloist, which meant naturally who got pulled along and into a lot of these things. I did. So I did pageants as a kid. I think I share this every so often. I probably need to tell more about this, but I was the pageant guy. I was the commercial actor dude.
You mean like hosting the pageants?
No, I was the one in the pageant. I was actually like a kid.
Boy
Like
pageants?
it was unisex because like we had a thing
I
like
didn't know they had those.
They did. There's a thing called Mr. and Mrs. Juneteenth. Juneteenth
Okay, was it like about
celebration.
your town or
Oh,
something?
wow.
Yes, yeah,
Okay,
that was
okay,
me.
okay.
I was like I think I was runner up or something
Okay,
like
yeah, they
that.
have those really small
Wow.
children.
Yeah. It was, but I was doing that. I did the commercial auditioning thing, all of that stuff.
Yeah,
My mom,
that's that water,
huh?
Yeah, the rest of that water.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
I would laugh because I tell people I would always end up somehow in front of a crowd of people as a kid, and after a while, it became like I became numb to it. Like they're like, "Whoa, you're gonna go up and present in front of the church?" Because like we'd have a program. I ended up being an usher, and I was the only kid, so I was the church baby, which meant whenever we had a visiting church come over and they wanted somebody to do something cute, I was the one that got volunteered, and that was from the age of 6 all the way up to almost 20.
Yeah.
And so I was laughing because I was like, dude, I feel like I've always been in front of a group of people forever. And then it was like, I think one of the first things people said when I went and did my first open mic, wow, you look really comfortable up there. I was like, dude, I've essentially done that. I didn't necessarily go up and tell jokes and have a plan always, but I was always in front of people having to do something.
It's like how you built relationships and stuff like that. You know, like, like that's
Yeah, no, I get that.
Parks and Rec, I mean, I was the guy that did the trainings. I had to lead trainings, I had to explain stuff, and so all of those things were going on. And I was like, wow, I kind of want to do this, but I don't know what. I remember sitting in, what do we have? We had I think it was accounting. Yeah, I think it was accounting. It was like it was a 6:30 to 9 o'clock class on Tuesdays at Texas State. And this was probably my junior year, maybe senior year. I was sitting in the class. It was like maybe about 300 people in the class with you. And we'd sit there. We'd all probably get there about 6:15. You want to get in so you get checked in and all that. And I remember I would sit there before the professor got in the room. And I would be like, yo, I want to just go in the front and just say a joke. And I was like, what the hell? That's weird. I was like, do you really want attention like that? And that's what will stop me from trying it. But every once in a while, I'll be like, I bet you if I just went up there and just told 2 jokes, how would they take it?
Dude.
I just thought about it, and I never did it. But I remember little things like raising my hand and giving an answer to something. I would want to just slide a joke in to just test it out. And I was like, you are crazy. Why would you just tell the right answer? And so I never did it, but I always had that feeling. I remember having that feeling for like years. And then so finally when I did it in 2012, it was like, affirmation or whatever, or confirmation of what I'd been feeling this whole time.
How did your first open mic go? Like objectively?
I feel like, so that's me now looking at that, or just what the audience
So did you
saw?
prepare a lot for it?
I did.
Okay, so, and then how did the audience react? How was your first one?
Audience was okay. I'm I'm extremely wordy. Like, I talk a lot. And so...
Would you have 5?
I had 5. Yeah, it was 5. It was maybe 4 minutes, I think. But I talked about my first car wreck. And
one joke.
One joke. I did a bit. Yeah, I did a long bit. I didn't do a...
Ballsy.
Right. I didn't come in with one-liners. I had wrote out... I had everything from the song that I heard to the feelings I had. And the way it was supposed to work was the external, what happened in the environment, then what happened to me inside the car, and then what I thought. And so every time something happened, it was boom, bam, boom.
Right.
Then it was boom, bam, boom. Well, the problem was that I did that so much that I didn't put enough funny in it. And so the audience just got this long story.
It was like,
very dry,
They appreciated.
Right, they appreciated it, but they were waiting for the ha-ha's to come. Yeah. Mine was more of a, oh, that's crazy. He called his friend instead of calling the cops when he, wrecked his car. Interesting.
So hard to workshop a storytelling style.
Right.
4 minutes.
I stayed away from telling stories. I just got back into telling stories recently for stage stuff.
Yeah.
But after that, I said, okay, we got to figure this out. This is something you're going to do, it seems like a lot. And I stayed at it, and then after a while, I started slowly developing a persona on there. And I mean, I'm still trying to figure that out like 4 or 5 years in.
Well, Jump Like Wazamo is such a, like, that special specifically, Freak. Like, that is such an interesting choice to be the thing that, like, that you would call back to, because not only was that a stand-up special, but that was almost just a one-man show.
It was.
Him,
Yeah,
it was just 100% a one-man show.
Yes.
It's him literally just talking about his whole life.
Yep.
And I remember watching that and just being like, that's what New York's like.
Right.
That's in my head. Because I'm in South Carolina, and I'm like, I see 3 sidewalks ever, Like, I don't see any asphalt where I grew up. And I was just like, okay. Like, I felt like John Leguizamo did an amazing job, even though I had to, like, sneak to watch this thing. I had to stay up late and I had to watch it. And I was like, but I think I at least understand a portion of New York now. Like a weird, very specifically Puerto Rican portion. But regardless, I was like, that's what a city's like.
He kept you entertained. There was one person on the stage.
Yeah, it wasn't this just straight up go up there and joke telling.
Right.
That kind of the ability to hold, especially in that special, like he had a whole auditorium. The ability to just keep everybody with you.
Yes, sir.
The whole time while you're doing that is so much more complex and layered than just set up punchlines. Set up punchlines.
Correct.
Yeah.
Because you know what you're doing there. Like, you have to trust that you can talk nonstop for an hour and a half, 2 hours, and it be interesting for a consistent amount the entire time. That's ridiculous.
I feel like both sides, because when I first started, I was like anti-guy go up and stand there and just tell jokes and not move around. And every once in a while, I still will make comments about, oh my God, this guy just went up there and just stood there and talked at the audience, gave him a lecture, whatever, here's some jokes, whatever. But do something, give some physicality, whatever, have some act outs. But at the same time, I think everybody has their lane. There are some people that they can do that and they can keep you entertained.
Yeah.
There are some people, they can go up there and they can move around. Like what was it? Robin Williams. There was a part, and there's
God.
another guy I liked. He would move around. He would do little faces. Jim Carrey, I usually describe them in the same manner. And you can have the volume off, and you would still, one, laugh, and two, you'd get what he was trying to convey.
Yeah.
You figure out what character he's trying to do just off the mannerisms alone.
Nobody should, like, but that's the thing, though, is, like, that is theirs.
Right,
Like,
right.
Nobody should try and do what Robin Williams and
Correct.
Jim Carrey ever did. You know,
Correct.
like,
Well, you can,
Yeah.
but you can be inspired by it.
Oh, 100%,
And so that was the
100%.
thing with
Yeah,
me
yeah.
and John Leguizamo is I was inspired by that stuff because I come from I say a musical entertainment
Totally.
background,
Yeah.
and so for me, my material a lot of times will break into a song or me rapping or me referencing a dance or me making faces or doing voices. A lot of times I try to go up and I try to push the envelope with myself and sometimes the audience. I'm like I said, I'm still learning this stuff, but my job I feel like is I want the audience to be entertained, but I want to come off stage smiling myself.
Yeah, you want to have fun while you're doing it.
And it's so weird because so many of us don't. And I've had sets where it's just kind of like it was work. You just like I did a competition in San Antonio last week, and it was horrible. It was just one of those things where I literally just went up to tell jokes. I didn't go up to entertain myself and have fun. I had some moments like I high-fived the audience member and all that, but when I came off, I think I had more fun. I'll take that back. I had more fun doing the competition this year than I did last year. Last year was horrible. This year, I loosened up just enough to try to have fun. I didn't do as good as I thought I could have, but I did better than last year, and that was enough. But my job for me when I perform is I want people to come away entertained and going, wow, that was awesome. I don't want them necessarily to go, this is the only place I could ever see that.
Right.
But I want them to be like, woo, that was fun,
Yeah.
And that's where I'm trying to do.
There have been open mics I've done where I'm the only one having fun.
I can imagine.
Like if you get at the very end of you're at
Right.
the very end of a list and you just need to get this out. There have been times where I've watched an open mic and 9 people before me. There would be 6 people in the crowd not together.
Right, right.
That's a crowd that has no sense of community.
Yeah.
It's easy to make a group of people laugh because laughter ripples. If one person's laughing, then you feel okay, like you can laugh.
Yeah.
6 people spread out are just paranoid of each other. And
no, that's a junior high dance, bro.
and I'd say 4 out of the 6 were comedians that were either waiting to go up.
They hadn't went up yet. Or waiting for their friend to go up.
So I watched 9 comedians do great 4-minute sets. Not all of them, but like doing well enough that they should have gotten sound back from these 6 people.
Right.
And these 6 people gave nothing. So I went up and I literally I greeted them. I was like, "Hey, how's it going? I don't think you guys really care, so I'm just gonna do it to the wall." And I just turned around and did my 4 minutes to the wall. But
You had fun, though.
I put my back to them.
I'm done
And
now.
I did. And I was so comfortable in this bit that it was ridiculous. And they didn't give me shit.
Yeah.
But it didn't matter because I couldn't see them not giving me shit.
Right.
I may as well have been doing what I did earlier that day, which was rehearsing it in my room.
I made a bit once about just what you're talking about, whereas I talked about how I was a driver and whenever I would make the mistake, and it's not a mistake, I'm okay with it now, but telling them that I do comedy, that they would immediately ask for some kind of material. And so I'd always joke about, like, one of my ways of getting out would be, well, the context is weird. I can tell you, and I would give them the scaffolding of a joke that I'm working on. It was my normal response, depending on my mood. I guess sometimes I would indulge them and give them a joke. But a lot of times I would say, hey, it's weird, because never in comedy would a person be performing with their back to the audience,
Oh, 100%.
But then I
Yeah.
joked, though. I said, wait a minute. As a person that drives and gets that question a lot, maybe I should try it with you guys. And so I did this at a show. And so I brought a chair up and I sat down and I said, you guys are now riding in my Uber or my taxi, whatever. And then I did a performance. I did like about maybe 4 minutes or whatever of material with my back to the audience. And it was the funniest thing ever for me.
I mean, you had the
because I couldn't
physicality and
see
stuff.
them.
You were just kind of
Yeah, I did it all. Oh, I did it all. I acted like I was driving. I yelled
dynamite,
out.
dude.
I yelled out at somebody out the window.
That's dynamite.
And then I told them, like, quit crying. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna end soon. We're gonna end it soon. I was just doing all kind of funny stuff with them.
No.
But
See,
I think you own the moment, though, is what you did.
Well,
there.
yeah, no, it's the confidence, and it was the thing was like I realized that whatever the situation was with these 6 people, it wasn't like I'm too hilarious for you, so I'm gonna point it away from you. I just was like, you guys got nothing for anybody that walked up. I literally watched a lot of people try really hard and do something that warranted a sound, and you didn't give it to them. Whatever your reason for being in this place right now for this hour is beyond me.
Yeah.
But I think you're gonna psych me out.
Yeah.
Just by sitting here being statues in a place where people paid to sit there and just be stonewalling
Just
a bunch
gonna
of
sit there and stare at me
amateur
like you're in
comedians.
some
And I was just like, all
Robert
right, man.
Palmer video.
And I was like, so, like, no disrespect. Like, I was literally the last comedian. I was like, you guys can all go if you want. Like, I'm just gonna do it this way. And yeah, no, like, that was the whole thing, is because they were psyching me out the way they were reacting to everybody else before that. And regardless, I don't know that I don't think I had gold or anything. I just needed to do my thing, and I just was not getting nobody was getting the boilerplate manners that you give at a fucking open mic, you know? Like,
I don't know. I appreciate the idea that the audience has their part in the experience of it, but I very much think that, I mean, at least for me, fuck the audience is what I think.
Because I'm like, plebeians that come in.
Well, plebes. I mean,
I think you said plebes.
I've definitely taught that to early improvisers. I was like, stop worrying about what they think. They don't know what they're doing, or else they'd be on stage with you. I was like, you need to figure out how to play the game and do the comedy math, and then once you can, you're fine. But for the interest of like sketch shows and stuff,
Luddites maybe.
We write good sketches. I make sure that all the sketches are like solid, well-written things. I see them performed. I know the actors are good.
Right.
I know what I'm putting up on stage is a good show.
Right.
So if they like it or they don't like it, it doesn't totally matter to me, because I know I'm putting out a good show. It's it's like the people who are making different television shows or movies out there, it shouldn't matter to them whether or not the audience likes it or dislikes it. They put out a product that they should be proud of. If you put out a product that you're proud of, then they react. Now, I appreciate the idea that it's like for them, and especially in a live audience, like their energy is part of it, but to a certain extent, I have to be separate from it, or else I will pander to the audience.
That was the first second I realized what Andy Kaufman was about, though. When I was like, today I'm doing this 4 minutes is for me. That's what I knew when the audience was not a part of it anymore. I was just like, oh yeah, Andy Kaufman went out there and never cared about how everybody. It wasn't for them, but like.
What are you gonna say?
Oh, I need that. I need that laughter. I need that approval of that audience. Like that will carry me out of the theater and home.
Straight up.
Oh,
if
sure.
I don't have it. It's just like.
Don't get me wrong. I like it. I enjoy
this?
having the audience like me, and that's great. But the problem is, I have done stupid shit before and gotten plenty of laughs, and I realize that it's not always about that. I used to do stand-up for years, and I would get the whole audience laughing purely because they just liked me. And I know that that's very vain of me to say, but I teach, and I know that as soon as I walk into the room and I smile at the people and I'm like, hey, what's up? Everyone feels comfortable with me, and the audience feels comfortable with me, and so they're going to give me what I need in that moment. But part of me, when I produce a show and I'm not the one on stage, is it's like, I just really think that the work that we've done is good work, and it's great, and it's really, I mean, the actors need to find a way to make the laughter happen, I suppose, but I know that the work that I've put out on stage is good work, and I know that the stuff that we've written is solid.
There's a midpoint, I feel like, where you have to be able to be true to yourself, but at the same time, if the goal, and I think it comes back with stand-up, it's anything really, but if the goal is to provide a service, meaning like if you're contracted or something like that, and this is where we kind of get into the business part, is that, okay, I want to make sure these people laugh. Or if I'm auditioning, because I just had this one, I did North Door, there was about, 300 people there, and this guy had a show, and I was like, oh, hey, you want to do some time up front? I ended up taking a bullet and going out first. And I looked at this as an audition. I said, you know what? I could go out there, because I remember I was so excited when I found out I was going to perform. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to have fun. Oh, this is going to be great. And I was like, hey, calm down. Let's go get a set together. And I said, okay, you got 7 minutes. That's 3 bits, That's an intro and 3 bits. That's why I look at it. And so I went and I said, hey, you could go up there and just act an ass and go goofballs and enjoy yourself. Or you could go in and be methodical with your approach and then figure out, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this. And then I'm done. And so I did, the latter, and I was like, let's go. And I went up there. I had a very solid set. I feel like I was funny enough that people remembered who I was after the show. They were like, yo, we enjoyed you and all that. And that was great. But it's a fine line between giving the audience what they want and giving them what you want to give them.
Yeah, having to do what you need to do when you go up there. Like, I always assume if I bomb, that it's my fault. I know it's my fault for some reason. I'm never like, well, that audience was cold or that or whatever. And I assume that first. That's the beginning of the realization of what's going on.
Your terminology changes eventually.
Well, I just assume that, like, my wording needs to change. I don't think I suck, but, like, I need to fix... There's a workshop there.
Number one, I think it comes down to how you define success.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Terminology
and I had the experience very early on as a musician. I make some very esoteric, odd music. It's not for everybody. I was on the radio for quite a while, for about 5 years, on a show in Houston that was for avant-garde composers. My dad tuned in one time. I always went out and helped my dad build.
We haven't talked since.
We'd work on houses together, and build patios, stuff like that, and that's how I spent my weekends. And he tuned in one night with his buddy, and they were like, "Oh man, what the hell was that? Like, why don't you write some music with a beat or something that people can listen to?" And I was like, "Well, here's the thing: if I was writing music for people like you, and just for approval from people like you, then I wouldn't be writing what I want to write, and that would kind of invalidate my art. For me, number one, the fact that it moved you to go, what the hell is this? Moved you.
Yeah.
Which makes my art complete in and of itself.
Yeah.
It moved you. Whether you liked it or not, it
Huh.
elicited a response, and a visceral response from you. So, mission complete as an artist.
Yeah.
And really, it comes down to defining your level of success, defining what you consider to be a successful set, as opposed to, because I've definitely had sets of musician where, I've had sets where I was not invited to come back to the establishment.
Yeah. Well, see,
literally.
I think
you've been playing here for 4 months, and that's great, but we really don't need you.
That's
to come
impressive.
Back.
I want to know. I want to see that, because in music and stand-up, it's a little different. I could go up there and say a bunch of words that would obviously make me not welcome other places.
Sure.
But to make
you
sounds,
gotta. Oh man, you gotta suck some ass.
But I was gonna say, with
people
stand-up
are
is,
dying.
You gotta suck some ass.
It takes a while. I tell people with us, you can, and I don't know with musicians because I've never been a musician before, but when it comes to stand-up, no matter how bad you are, not getting a single solitary laugh, you still can come back. Now, if you go up there and you punch somebody, or let's say a person just fell in front of the stage and died, and then you immediately say that person deserved it or something, maybe right then and there they'd be like, okay, that guy can't come back. But
that's a little harsh.
Has that happened?
No,
but I'm saying I'm trying to give the level of how severe it will take to not be invited back. Because I remember I was dating a comic for a while. We dated, and I remember I told her, dude, because we get into it a lot. I'm hyper competitive when it comes to this stuff.
Sure.
And so with her being a comic, it was weird for me because I had never had a person that I didn't have to fully explain myself to. But on the other end, it was a person I had to really explain myself to. You know what I'm saying? If I did something that I wasn't happy about, well, why did you pick those jokes then? You knew what you were doing. Why did you choose those jokes? I'm like, holy shit. Damn, can you let me grieve that I bombed?
Dude, dude. My girl, I get that. I love my girlfriend. She doesn't listen to this podcast, so that's not a thing. My girlfriend's the worst person to go meet after I do well, or don't do well.
I would be, she'd kill me either way.
Yeah, she
even
sits there.
That wasn't that good.
It's great, though. Like that's the thing, though, is I appreciate someone who is so comfortable with me and loves me enough that they're gonna give me all these things that my ego might gloss over.
Is she a comic or is she
No, she's just regular.
See, mine's a comic, and I felt sometimes she was sabotaged.
No, I know how to filter.
Your girl's a civilian, as I call it.
Yeah.
See, mine wasn't a civilian, and so there were some times where I would do something, and the audience would be dying. And I'm talking about I have laid the audience to waste. And then I would talk to her about it, and it was as if I didn't do anything. And I'd be like, well, damn, if I can't get you to laugh. And after a while,
then what's the issue?
Right. Well, it started sabotaging me to the point where I was going on stage with a vendetta, screw all of those people. I got to make that little sector laugh. And that didn't do anything well for me.
But there's also a part of it where she probably didn't laugh because she's with you a lot, and, the audience is, getting this small glimpse as to why you're hilarious, and she's with you all the time, so she knows why you're funny. And she just, Yeah, no, you did something similar like that last Tuesday.
Be that as it may, maybe, but at the end of the day, it was too much thought going on into the process.
Yeah.
I was going into these performances.
Did you ask her for her opinion?
I had all kind of time. I asked her. I didn't ask her. She
just
said,
show up and
I
be
said,
like,
give me positive. I said, just give me that. We tried all kind of different things. And I remember at one point, I was like, dude, you're not even going into it trying to be funny anymore. You're going into it trying to like prove something.
Oh, yeah.
And for me, that's not who I am. Like I said, I want to come off stage and laugh. I want to come off and be happy. I want to come off with a little sweat, whatever the heck it may be. And with her, it was just more of, I was just angry. You know, I was just like, you're going to laugh. And this is funny. And what? I had all those people laughing. And
Like kind of the
that's
tour sort of thing.
something, man. It was just for me though. It was not healthy for me. I'll tell people.
Sure.
A lot of my friends and my colleagues, they say, yeah, you weren't in a good place then. You know, it was about a year because I have a monthly show that I host, and I was always hosting, and so I have to do a new 15 at the beginning of every show, which that's a lot. Anybody's, if you've ever written anything, you understand that having a new anything every month.
Yep.
For a year?
Yeah.
That's stupid. We've done this show for 3 years. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they have the rule is I can't do the same material on any show.
Yes.
So I've stuck by that. And for that year that we were together, man, I was going in there, and I mean, I'm up there just like, ugh, and you could read it on my body language that I wasn't happy.
How does she take notes? Did she want notes from you?
She
on her
did, but
shit?
she tried to play it on the whole concept of, because she's older, that she knew what was right for me, and she knew what was right for herself.
Yeah. So it's just
I
like-
couldn't give her notes.
So you thought that because you're new at this,
Right, exactly. And it would just make me, it would just tear me to pieces because I'd be like, what?
Yeah.
So you gonna critique me? And then after a while, it wasn't even me being critiquing her anymore. It was me being mean.
Yeah.
It was me being malicious. Well, you just went up there and talked. You didn't tell a joke. And I'm like, bro, why are you doing this? Like, first of all, why are you in this relationship? And the second of all, why are you tearing down another person?
Right.
And that's when I realized there's some changes that need to be made.
There's such a competitive nature to comedy, and not just stand up though, heavily in stand up because it's a one-on-one situation. But something that I've found a lot, especially when it comes to people who are going to do it like full time and like really going to push forward, is that like the people who move to LA and then like you see people here who are like mad at them as if somehow they did something to them by moving forward in their career.
Right.
And it's like when they do well or when they get a good show, they're like,
Yes.
oh, well, that guy, he doesn't deserve that. It's like, he's hustling, he's working hard.
I'm
There
so
are
happy
people.
when my friends do well.
Me too.
Yeah.
I'm always
Even
so
if my
happy when
friends-
people do well.
Yeah.
If
Even if I'm
I've
jealous of
met
them, I'm
a
happy that
person
they're doing
or if
it.
I've worked with a person and they go off and they do great things, I am over the moon
Yeah,
with
100%.
how proud of them I am, because they had to work hard to get that, and I
I'm also
care about them
terrified
and
to go to
want them
California.
to do that kind of thing.
Yeah, well, every time one of my friends goes to LA, I'm like, send a letter back, let me know that you survived. I don't know, that's scary as shit to me. That's like saying I'm going to like Lilliput or some shit.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm going to
Well, it
the.
sounds like you're going to the Lion's Den.
I
pretty
am going
much.
to.
You are,
I'm
though.
going to
Yeah.
the jungle inside of Jumanji. You know, like for all I fucking know.
Yeah, absolutely.
A comic posted that, or he made a good point. He said, like, what'll help you out in this job, because there was always a little thing where they'd give helpful advice to new comics, is learn how to be happy for other comics' success.
That's right.
And learn how to not be bothered by their success.
That's
because
right.
if you can do that, it'll give you years in this business. Because
Yeah.
I mean, I'm real. I'll say stuff like, I'll see somebody that just started doing comedy a year ago, and they'll be just flying off the radar, and I'll be like, damn, how did they do that? But then at the same time, I remember we're not all running the exact same race. Some
right.
people's is going here, some
That's
people have
right.
hurdles, some people have to
Yeah.
go under, some people are jumping through water, some people are just running straight as a sprint, you know? And at the end of the day, be happy that person is succeeding, and if they're close enough to you that you can actually feel something about it, learn from it.
Yeah.
You know?
Dude, that's like easily.
Learn from it.
That's like the exact opposite bit of advice I got when I first started. I remember there was a comedian who was doing pretty well in Austin, my first open mic, and I went to it, and he had talked me into doing it, and I was laughing my ass off at every joke that I thought was funny, really loud, and I realized that I was louder than a lot of people around me, and he told me that some comedians have developed like a golf laugh because they don't want
They don't
want
give it
other
up
people
for
to
the
get
other-
more laughs than them, so they
Right.
give them. There's like a respect laugh.
friends even
and I
do
said
that.
that's the fucking dumbest thing I've ever heard.
I hate that.
That made
I
me so
agree.
mad, and like I don't know, that put this weird thing in my head where I was like, oh, so I'm not getting any genuine responses right now. Every time I go up, somebody's like holding back because they need something for themselves.
That's what I love about like some of the sketch at the theater is like,
Supportive.
yeah, those people will show up from other shows and or they used to do the show that you're in, but they're there now and they're the ones laughing the hardest because they're actually loving what they're seeing, you know, and it's just like, and it's good for you as a performer and it's good for the audience too because then they get on board with it and then that makes it all better. It's just like. And now I, as a performer, am going to have more respect for you as a person.
Thank you.
You know, it's like, it's super upsetting because I hear that all the time.
And that was the first thing.
Stuff like, ugh.
Yeah, and that's the first thing I noticed about you. The first time I met you, you were easily the most like gregarious, like engaging, just like ready to talk to me for like 25 minutes because I think it was Dinner Detective or something like that. And then I saw you at an open mic. And you remembered me, and we almost started that exact same conversation that we had just had. And I was like, this is how fucking genuine people talk. And this is crazy. And I just remember just being like, what a supportive human being. What a nice dude. I want Courtney around all the time. Today, I didn't know your last name.
Yeah, well, no,
and they're like, we're doing Courtney Creighton. And I was like,
I don't use my
And then she was like, I'm from Dinner Detective. And I was like, fuck yes! Like, I was in the back of her car, and I was like, yes, he's so easy to talk to.
Who's that name?
We are easily going to hit 2 hours today, which
Who the hell is this Courtney Creighton guy?
Dude,
Simply Courtney.
I know about it.
No, it's totally...
Because we don't do that. Whenever I see you, you just come up and we just start talking.
I don't do names. I go up to people and I talk, and that's who I was born as. Like the person that people get that's me.
Yeah.
Whether I'm happy or I'm sad, and that was something that took me a long time to get with, was it's okay for me to be sad. It's okay for me to be mad. It's okay for me to be annoyed, angry, whatever. Because people are always like, especially as a guy, and especially as a black guy, you have to mask stuff. You know, you can't be sad. You can't be scared or fearful or worried. You're supposed to be bravado just 24/7. And I love that about the way I was brought up, is that we were brought up, it was myself, my sister, and my mom. Us three. And we were always able to express ourselves, you know, whether it was cussing each other out or, you know, what the hell's going on with these people, and laughing, you know.
Essential release.
Yeah, even my dad's side of the family, my aunts. Like, a lot of the characters, the voices, when I'm doing them, I hear their voices on performing them. I've had, let's say, one aunt, one uncle, a sister that have all passed on. I say a sister, my sister, I only have one sister. Have all passed on. So a lot of times when I'm doing characters or I'm talking as somebody else, maybe referring in third person or whatever, I'm doing their voice. That is a character that I'm doing. Everybody from even like there's a Rastafarian guy that I do. That's a person to me. Those are all living, breathing people. And so it's so funny that when people are like, oh, the act you're doing, and I was like, it's not an act for me. This is me just trying to tell you a story, and I'm giving you the truth. People ask my material all the time, where do you get your material from? And I say, from my life, it's me. I'm a black guy named Courtney that has lived 31 years, and I hope to live, you know, way more than just 31. But right now, up to this point, my material is all my life. And it's where I thought it, or whether I felt it, or whether somebody said it to me, that's who I am.
Yeah, it's just your narrative.
Yeah. And that's super exactly, I mean, that goes all the way back to John Leguizamo. That was literally what drew me in about that sketch.
Yes,
I was like, oh, dude, my family's fucking crazy, too.
Right.
Like, I just kept thinking about that. I was like, that guy's got a crazy voice and has done some shit nobody's ever heard done before. Like that guy went to jail for a reason. Like, my uncle went to jail for reasons that you just didn't know they made big enough jails for.
Right.
And then, like, you know, like, in this lady, you know, like, methadone is this thing here. And then, you know, like, I was like, holy shit. John Leguizamo took what would seem like a very terrifying...
Correct.
And, like, what some people in a very high pedestal would be, like, a dysfunctional upbringing or something.
Sure.
And I look at it like a fucking character building exercise where it's like... Because you're going to meet all kinds of crazy people when you grow up. If you can just learn and love, if you can learn to love a weird sort of dichotomy of just crazy fucked up people, then you want everybody. Then you love everybody.
That's
that's the thing, is like, I go out, I make people that I do not agree with on any political or mostly emotional or religious or philosophical level. I love them to death, and I grew up making them laugh. And now when I go out, that is like...
That's what you're entertaining.
Yeah, the people in the audience may as well be those same people, because those things don't line up for me. They don't matter. I don't care what your problem is that day. Like, matter. I don't care if, like, what your predisposition against a certain thing is or political lining. I want to make you smile. I want to make the biggest group of people smile and laugh. People told me I was good at that. I'm going to try and get better at it. That's what that's for. And My family feel like I think my family is second guessing the whole supportive thing at this point.
Everybody's family.
Like they're all like, "Hey, we didn't know you were gonna be all like that, though."
Keep going. Keep going.
You say "goddamn" on Facebook like a lot, though, bro. You know, like that's
if
how
that's
my
who
family
you are,
is.
though, then keep doing it. I think that's the jacked up part about. And I don't have my. I'm probably going to be a hypocrite on this one. I don't have my family on my Facebook purposely for that reason.
I need to make
a second one. Yeah,
I do.
I have a cousin. Like right now, I have 2 cousins that are on my Facebook. My aunt is still waiting. She's never going to get on there.
Well, your family's here.
My
right?
mom. Yeah. Well, no, my family's all over. Like
okay, see, I left my family in South Carolina.
Yes,
so
my family's in LA. My family's in Arizona. I have family in Rhode Island, Ohio.
But from everything you said, they don't really grab me as the most like religiously conservative group.
Oh yeah.
Oh, they are?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the expressive.
My Dallas people were probably like okay with Trump being president.
Okay. No, like the whole expression part of it, like
WGN fans.
Probably.
Okay. Right on. And so that's my whole thing, though, is like I don't get to see them, and every year I go home, somebody else is dead, somebody new person is dead. So it's like when I go home, people find me. And they're like, hey, we want to see how Wendell's doing because he's not around and he might be dead. God only knows. So I accept their Facebook friendship.
Yeah.
I accept their Facebook friendship. I'm not going to change what I'm doing.
No, don't.
Mainly, and I also like seeing their opinions on things, even though it's dumb.
Keeps you human.
Even though I don't agree with it, I can understand what the other side's thinking. And that's really the only way I can grow intellectually, I think, is like to know that I'm not 100% right all the time, at least to understand why other people are doing stuff. Mm-hmm. So, like, I keep them there, and I constantly tell them, they're just like, I swear to God, why do you post this stuff? And it's like, because I can, and you can unfriend me, and we can just go back to you thinking I'm a kid again, you know? Like, you're allowed to see what I'm doing. You're not allowed to make me do something different.
You can't dictate my actions, but you're allowed to witness them.
You guys knew when I went out to Austin, y'all thought it was because I was gay. And it wasn't. I'm just weird, and I just am figuring this out. So it's like, you guys knew when I went out here that I was probably going to expand in a way that was not going to line up with South Carolina, because people don't expand in South Carolina. Mm-hmm. People just stay how they are because it's comfortable and it's nice and everybody looks the same and everybody.
I feel like on Facebook though, you're either people are either going to really express everything or they're a curated personality. I'm a curated.
That's where
I need to make a curated. I think about the second one.
I would say I feel like nobody's exactly who they portray themselves as on Facebook.
Oh yeah,
I have imagined that I'm going to be.
I'm fairly genuine on Facebook.
Oh yeah, you are.
But, you definitely are.
But
I am
not, and I think a lot of it has to do with since I was a tiny child, I imagined myself a famous person. Mm-hmm. I have always been like, well, I'm a celebrity, so I need to make sure that the person I'm putting out there is acceptable.
I imagine every day you walk out and you're just telling paparazzi that aren't there to calm down.
Absolutely.
Excuse me.
I just imagine. I'm always looking good. I'm like smiling as I'm getting in my car. You know.
I think I've seen you get mad on Facebook twice, and I've been like,
if I'm angry on Facebook, it's usually to say, "All right, everyone, let's just calm down a little bit." Like that's usually what it is.
I assume I did it, or somebody that I know did it. That's my whole thing. Is I feel like it's gonna be.
But it's always vague. If I'm going to write something, it's vague book all over the place. I'm never like John's a shithead.
Of course, it's always
vague. Sometimes people shouldn't be doing this. Like it's just something in that nature, but never anything that's in a larger sense could be deeply offensive. Also, I know my audience.
Right.
I know who I'm friends with on Facebook. I know who's reading what I'm putting out there, and so I try very hard not to offend my audience in that way. In the same way that when I'm saying I'm doing shows, I'm like fuck the audience. I'm not. I write the whole show that show
backstage to get us okay.
But
that's exactly what that is.
Like, it's always right before the show. You're
Patrick doesn't jump.
No, it's like literally.
No, but it's also to be like, this is what's going on. It's going to be okay. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter if they like it or don't like it. The idea is you need to be able to feel good about yourself in that scenario. But the other thing is that I know that what I've put out on stage is palatable, is funny. I've watched it. I've laughed.
We rehearsed it. We all read through it.
We all know this is funny. There's 10
of
us in the room. If somebody was like, guys, this is horribly offensive, they represent the swath of people who are going to witness this. They understand. In the same way that we were talking earlier, that it was like, we we decided not to do any political stuff for a little while because it's too hot button right now. Like, we did some and we were making fun of the fact that we were doing it, and then it just didn't hit, and it was like, all right, guys, well, listen, I think the world's a little too hot about it right now. We need to wait until it calms the fuck down,
and they also
and
can't
then we
escape
can
it.
do that.
All these people that are in there literally can't escape political humor for the most part, you know? Like, it'd be nice if they could just walk into this building and we could just be absurd.
But because of that, when I put myself on Facebook, I just try to present myself in a way that seems palatable to everyone that I'm aware of. Though that being said, I have friends, like you said, people in my family that believe different things than I do. People even in this community that I talk to every day who believe things that I think are different or I disagree with. But like you, I like to see the whole swath of what people really say and think, because I really think it's important to know what the breadth of people are thinking. So that I can put stuff out there and deal with it in a larger sense. So
I gotta stay human. If you mask yourself, I compare it to when I had my I was bringing it back to my kids with my daughter. There was a while where I thought she had like a learning disability or a speech impediment. Since now, I mean, she's 8, we know she doesn't. She's top of her class, does great. But for the longest, especially before I had my son, I would shield her from everybody that wasn't her family because I didn't want them going, well, why doesn't she, or why doesn't she? Then I was like, she ain't different. She's normal.
Yeah, you want to hit somebody just for asking a question.
Right. We'd go to playgrounds, and if I went to a playground and I saw kids there, we would go somewhere else. Or we were at a playground and kids started showing up, I'd pick up our stuff and we'd go. And that was the way I did it. And then I realized, and I think people probably told me that ahead of time, my sister and all that would probably tell me because my sister would watch my kids before she passed. And I remember she said, hey, if you keep shielding her from everything, how is she going to learn how to interact with kids? And I was like, well, I'll be damned. You know, and it was like, that was that one little thing that, bing, like, whoa, you're trying to shield her, but you potentially are doing her a disservice.
You're not actually socially normalizing her at the same time.
You're not. And you're developing. You're stunning her development in her growth.
And she's just threw in the door.
She'll never get chicken pox. So
right.
You gotta get him right now.
Get him now.
Get him chicken pox.
Get over it.
Get that chicken
Come on, do
Honey,
that.
I need you to work on your social issues and your immune system right now.
You know what?
If you could get your immunoresponse under control.
Make a friend and almost
issues.
die. High five.
Right. Break. 2, 3. Break.
Make a friend and almost
You have
die.
no idea how much harder it's going to be later if you don't get chicken pox. Like, go in there,
Trust
get
me.
sick.
Trust me. You want to be ahead of the curve on this one, honey.
Go in there, find the sickest person, kiss them on the mouth.
Kiss
them square on the mouth. It's the best icebreaker. They're going to
just go up and tongue lick their face.
I love that concept of just jumping into the stuff because fear stops so many people from doing things, and that's what I love about performing. Though, is I felt like, and I told people, and it was weird. I'm gonna get weird for y'all. I developed a almost death wish doing stand-up comedy because it was like probably the scariest thing I'd ever done. It was stuff that I was like, I don't want people looking at me and judging me off my appearance. I look weird, or blah blah yada yada yada, and I would avoid that. I don't want people hearing what I think and then judging me off of that because they might think I'm dumb or yada yada blah blah blah. I don't want people hearing me press hot button issues and putting them out there in front of people
right before you make that decision.
And I was like, what the hell am I doing? And then once I did it, I embraced it and I said, okay, I don't want people knowing about my background. And I started telling shit about that, and I was like, dude, what do you have to be scared of anymore? And after that, I remember I did a bull run. I went to Dallas and did a bull run. I shit you not. We got in the car and we made like I think half the week we were there doing comedy. Sounds like what it sounds like.
A literal bull run.
That happened.
I didn't know they did that in the U.S. I didn't know that was.
And bulls chased you.
I didn't know that.
I just want to be sure.
And horses. Oh, hold on. And horses as well. I saw more people get trampled by horses than by bulls that day.
Okay.
Wait,
they just
wait. Horses. Were some horses there as spectators and then got startled?
It's basically a quadrupedal run. If there are giraffes available,
they just throw all four-legged animals.
Whatever you got.
That literally was about how bad it was.
Gotta be larger than a goat, but not as large as an elephant.
Right.
Wait.
Yeah.
Those are the rules.
Wait. Why can't there be goats though? Because I'd be like, oh yeah, and draw the goats
are
at
just
me.
are just ornery. They're gonna
Goats
they're
are
gonna just
really
hurt things
much
out
I
of
love
you.
the idea that this wasn't improv.
I don't think y'all understand about the way goats work. Goats can mess you up equally as much as
Goats
everything
will
else.
jack you
Especially
up.
if you fall
It is aligned with
down.
their
Do you know what the
spines.
foot? Do you know what the foot of a goat can do to you?
It will jack you up.
Yes, sir.
That'll cut you hard.
My
Yes,
only
sir.
question, that's fine.
There's a
Cuts.
flashback.
I need to outweigh the animal if it's on 4 legs. That's my
Yeah.
only thing. Like,
You would think that was
And
the
see,
case.
it's interesting,
Never
like,
no,
take you out.
I grew up terrified of chickens.
It's interesting. Like, I lived in Maine for 5 years, and Amy can attest to this. There's a place called York Beach,
Okay.
Oh.
and they've got a zoo
Yeah.
at York Beach, and it's literally it's one of the saddest Dumbo zoos that you'll ever be
Love
to
where
in your
this is
life.
going.
Fight goats.
Well,
the
no,
reason.
literally, like you go up and it's like, here's the bobcat, and it's in an enclosure approximately the width of this
Oh.
table.
It's
It's
like
like
doing-
8 feet tall, like in a tree with like a bowl of food, you know. And it's like, oh, this poor thing. Like this is
Right.
horrifying. But inside of this zoo is literally an enclosure, probably about 5 times the size of this studio. That's an enclosure of deer. And you can go up and you can pay money for feed and like feed the
Fucking
deer
deer.
over the
Fucking
fence.
deer.
Or no. You can take your children inside the
Yeah, I did
enclosure.
that. That's the
grown-up
dumbest
deer?
thing
With,
ever.
oh yeah.
Not
That's the
not
dumbest
baby
thing
deer.
ever.
No,
I hate that.
I was like, what the, have you people never seen when animals attack?
Thank you.
Like, all they gotta do is
Hello.
not like the way you smell, and you're gonna
Hello.
have like 50 deer trampling
Whoop your ass.
people.
I have a
Like,
joke
this is
about
gonna,
that.
Those
this
food
is gonna
pellets
be
have
this,
Xanax in it.
this is
It's
gonna
just
be
mixed
like
with
some
Xanax.
kind of horrible. This once again,
We did
like
Austin
I
Zoo.
want to open.
Yeah.
I want to open an emergency room right next
Right
to
next
that
to it,
place
exactly.
and just print my own money.
Have kid-sized tables and
Yeah.
adult-sized tables.
That's
so
right.
They're both getting.
Yeah, because
Dude.
you're both foolish.
Yeah.
The fire station is right next to the animal kingdom.
It
They
is
know
right
what
next
they're
to the
doing.
If I
animal
was ever like severely emasculated, I'd be like, let me in that deer tank. Because I think
Yeah.
a deer,
Deer tank.
Yeah.
deer tank. Because
not a
like
Yeah, the tank.
goat, I know
like-
that I have more anger in me than a
I
goat
just
has
got
will
this
to live.
evil Knievel image in my head of this like pool full of deer.
called- I
Yeah.
have like this
Oh,
Bowie knife. I just
mad
stick it in
as
my
shit, like-
teeth.
Like people have been
naked.
trying to write them, and
They're
Yeah.
biting each other and the other. Like it's like.
Yeah. I'm just like, all
I didn't
right.
know deers had canines. This one does.
they're just antlers.
Yeah.
Just Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer playing like over and over
Yeah,
like
but
the
the,
mad.
torture
but the
tape.
nose
They're
is
pissed.
red for the way wrong reason.
Right.
Well, that's the whole
Like-
thing is like, yeah.
Blunt.
I want you
Somebody
to
ripped
find
it
all
off
the
with
deer that didn't get to play in the reindeer games. I want you to find the deer.
Yeah.
You know, like there's the group of deer here. I want you to find the loner, weird Columbine deer that are all hanging out.
Yeah,
on the
yeah.
side.
He does the deer
There's like
he does
angry,
the deer
fucked up
that.
deer over here.
He's got the flock
Now,
of seagulls.
the Hunger Games was actually the reindeer games that nobody would let them
I
play.
want you.
So,
I want
yeah.
to read the deer that are listening to like My Chemical Romance and like
Oh yeah.
sharpening their
Haven't you
horns,
people ever
like
heard?
eyeballing some shit.
Closing the damn reindeer door.
That's Panic at the Disco, and
I got some.
my
to it.
correction is worthless.
I don't even care.
The reason I even said that,
I don't even care. 'cause I
that
have
it
fun
does
singing
not
it.
fucking matter.
I
Because I
can
saw
see that
both of
deer.
them at the
Oh my
same
God.
Warped Tour. when I
Thank
was
you. I was, they
17.
were probably on the same tour at
No,
some
no,
point.
I was just about to say
Yeah.
they were both at Warped Tour, and that's what, like my correction is for
That
sheer,
deer doesn't give a shit.
It's just for
Yeah.
the
That deer
one
goes
angry
in his
teenager.
damn room, closes his door, and says, "Leave me alone, Santa. I'm gonna do it when I'm ready.
Yeah.
I'm gonna move out of here when I turn 17. I'm gonna have my own sleigh,
You know what?
and we're gonna have a dispensary next to it."
I'm gonna be able to see it Christmas, and I'm still gonna ruin it. That's right. I'm gonna crash the whole
That's right.
thing. That's right. I'm gonna go like this. We're gonna fall.
I'm gonna
No,
eat Brussels sprouts all day.
I'm gonna slam into a Jewish kid's house.
You know I'm not thinking. I was gonna say, you know I'm not coming back until Hanukkah's over with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
I'm gonna
going.
go help somebody deliver shit for 8 days straight.
I'm
Fuck you,
serious
how
this
about
I'm
year.
not
I'm
coming
going
back until
Hispanic.
Boxing Day.
that? I don't know how the presents are supposed to arrive
I'm
for
not.
Hanukkah.
I'm giving all the Christmas. bringing all the presents on Boxing Day.
I'm bringing all the tangerines.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm bringing all the tangerines to England.
Oh my god, I started joking about that with my kids. I never did it. That we were gonna bring them up thinking that Christmas was like on like
One day
income
after?
whenever income tax came out. We said
Yeah,
screw
right.
that.
Yeah.
We said even screw like
It
every
just
4
it
years.
floats.
Yes.
It's like a crap game.
Yes.
It floats throughout the year.
Just do it
whenever
when
you
all the
got it
Christmas
done,
gifts
and-
are on sale.
Yeah.
Screw that. We're gonna go past that. We're gonna go to
Yeah.
income tax.
Yeah.
That's a little bit better
Yeah.
than like putting it on them. It's like I don't know. It happens like when all A's happen. I don't know.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, it
When
like-
all A's happen.
I don't know. It happens
Christmas
when
happens happens when kids do well in school. That's
Yeah,
My
that was
daughter's like,
like-
I got a purple in all A's.
Well, that
what
was
now?
like getting stuff from my grandmother. I loved my mama to death. You always got quality, but the problem was you didn't always get hip because her shopping was done by July.
I'm telling you.
Ooh, yeah.
My mom
So
shops
so
in
by the
July.
time like Christmas toys would come about, like no dice. Christmas
no,
is shop
bro.
for, man.
I got some knockoff-
Like I've had Christmas done since before your birthday.
I'm
You're
saying,
lucky you got some
I had
shit
a
in
homegirl
August.
that used to do that, man. She would have her Christmas. If her Christmas wasn't done by Halloween, dude, it was
Oh,
close.
she had issues.
Yeah, she
had
was like,
issues,
"Oh
yeah.
no, we're almost done. We don't do that in my household." And I was like, "Oh my gosh!" So those kids are
Yeah,
missing
like,
everything.
you're missing
that
the whole
happens.
curve.
The albums.
You're missing
you know
the
how
whole
albums come out?
launch.
The good albums will come out in like
yeah.
Christmas.
Yeah, they
They come out. They come out the weekend.
Yeah,
They come
She's
out.
like, "Nope."
No,
done
they
already,
come out
sorry.
the
You
weekend
want
after
Halloween?
Thanksgiving.
You want Halloween? You want my? Was it? That's what I call Music Volume 14.
That's like, that's
no,
like,
they come out the weekend after Thanksgiving, so they aren't overshadowed by football.
Yeah,
No, it's ridiculous.
These
Oh my
kids will
God,
miss
that's like-
that. Oh.
Yeah.
That's like one of those things where, like, my mom, I remember, like, my mom kept up to date, but also she didn't have an eye for
Yeah,
quality.
yeah.
I remember she got me some knockoff shell tops back in like early 2000s
Did they
when
have
shell tops came
five
back
stripes?
up. Two.
Oh damn! It was
I had two.
Instead of 3, I was like,
Everybody else had 3 stripes, and I had 2 stripes. And
keep moving real fast.
I love my mom,
Good job.
and I just wore them,
Good.
and I changed them when I got to school.
But you drew it. Did you draw? Oh, you wore the shoe and you put it on.
I
The
hope
wear- I
she
wear them in
doesn't
school.
listen to the
I thought you were going to say you
end.
wrote like. I thought
No, I had to.
you were
No, the thing is,
I'm cutting it out.
So you
before
just-
we
that
get
day.
it.
So you
that
just
day
had
I learned-
Audis? You didn't have the Audi
So
Well, no, that day I
Rich.
learned the
Audis.
difference.
Audis.
I didn't know. Like that was the day the glass shattered for me, and I realized what buying clothes from Walmart, and buying clothes from like,
3-legged,
retail,
4-legged
from from the
ponies and all
mall
that kind
was.
of stuff.
And because somebody came up to me and was like, "Man, it's real cool that you just like don't care, that you just wearing that like knockoff stuff." And I was like, "What am I doing? What's happening?"
Mind me asking real quick. I want to know about this. How old were you when that happened?
That was 6th grade.
6th grade. Okay.
So
That's
I
harsh, man.
was 11 or 12.
That's a harsh
That's about right,
That's
though.
a harsh reality
12.
That's
I
because
feel bad for that person who thought they were being nice.
He
by
wasn't being
saying it
shitty.
to
He
you.
wasn't
Yeah,
even
he
being
was
like
trying
sly.
to
He was
be
a
nice.
kid.
Like, you're
He was a
just
kid.
trying to be
He was
sweet.
genuinely trying to like lift
lift
me up.
you up and be like,
And I got real insecure,
Yeah.
and I went home, and it was one of those things where I was like, "Mom, thanks for this, this."
Good.
I was like,
Yeah.
"Can we go to Goodies? You know, maybe like when school comes back next year, let me pick the clothes out." Like I didn't want to like just straight up make her feel like shit about everything
At
she
least
had
you-
provided
yeah,
for me,
yeah.
because what she was doing was way too much already. You know. But all of a sudden, I just had this teenage insecurity. And I was like, all right. I was like, yeah, shoes are great, Mom. And then I had literally just went and bought a pair of Nikes that I just kept in my backpack. And I just swap them out the second she pulled away. And I put them back on when she picked me up because I love her.
Yeah.
And I don't ever want her to think
I
she
was
ever
in-
failed.
I was in
Yeah.
both of those. I was in both of those spectrums. Like I remember having that same about the same time. And of course, you know, kids are always getting on your case about what you're wearing.
Yeah.
But I remember being like, I'm good where I'm at. But I also had the added thing of, for 4 years straight, my age and my foot were the same.
yeah.
So I was 10 and I
Yeah.
wore a 10.
Yeah.
Once I hit 12,
Yeah.
it was
Same
all
here.
over. You were going to get one good
I
pair of
turned
shoes.
25 and went from a 15 to a 16.
What? See, I was worried about that with the 14 thing. My feet
Oh
are
my
close
God.
to mine
If
now.
I
No,
start
my-
buying
I'm
bigger
good.
shoes
My
now,
doctor
I'd just
literally
like,
told
dude.
my mom my whole life, like, he'll keep growing to, oh, you're crazy. You know, but yeah. Like at
Fight
25,
science.
I had to buy new pants. It was like all over again.
Damn.
Like
I'll
everything,
get
I had like a growth
If I get
spurt
longer,
at like
that's
25 years old.
happens,
It's crazy.
man.
What's growing like?
Yeah.
That's what I
To be big.
Oh, Patrick.
Dude, you were the perfect you, though.
That was yeah. You are. You're perfect. The way you are.
Dude,
That
you
was
were taller.
beautiful.
You'd be too intimidating.
Why are
to
y'all not
talk to.
recording? This would be like that
I'd be
moment you did.
terrified. If you were
Like a
my-
dynamite.
if you were my height, I'd be like, I'm not fucking with that Patrick guy. I don't know. He's a fucking animal. He's a beast,
Yeah.
dude.
All right.
You
I
also probably
think,
wouldn't
I
do
think
comedy.
guys, we've done
we've
2.5
done almost
hours.
2.5
We're
hours.
so good.
Knew it.
You have been
So fun.
such an entertaining guest that we have
man.
just been talking up a storm,
I
and
was
it's been
wondering, I was
such a
like, man, I
wild
hope we're
thing.
good.
Damn, this has been fun.
No,
Yeah,
this has
fun.
been so great, and thank you so much, Courtney, for
Yeah, it's a
chatting
pleasure.
with us
You.
and being part of the podcast.
Anything
This
wanna,
is going to
like,
be a
plug?
wild one.
It'll be a minute before it comes out. Like, is there
It'll be
anything
about a
like-
month before
about a
it
month.
comes
Is there
out.
anything
So
like
Okay, I can
maybe
plug.
like
I have a
end of March, early April, maybe.
Cool. I have 2 monthly residencies,
you go.
and so I do let's see, the one that comes up first is the second Saturday of every month. This is a South Austin brewery show. It's called the Bat Cave. That's my podcast, the Black and Tan podcast.
Oh, yeah.
We have a show that we produce, and we do that the second Saturday of every month. It's $5 over at South Austin Brewery. We just had our last show was well received. After that, we will have every third Thursday of the month, I do a show called Rowdy over at Bar 512. And that one's a free show that I bring comics over from San Antonio that don't normally get a lot of exposure in Austin and have them perform. I know that, like I said, this will be out in April and March?
Probably the end of March.
End of March. So I think we're going to probably go hiatus for that Rowdy show because of South by Southwest.
Sure.
But we'll be back in April. And
Great.
So every third Thursday of the month is Rowdy. Every second Saturday of the month is Bat Cave.
Awesome.
And
Good.
so I'm a producer and host of both of those.
Everybody
Wonderful. Hang out with Courtney as
see
much
this
as you
guy,
can.
man.
He's a great
Aw.
guy.
Yeah.
It is
Absolutely.
hard to fucking frown around this dude. For
You're
real.
so lovely.
You're so fun, man.
Yeah,
I
thank
love
you
and
so
live
much,
life.
man.
Thank you.
I've been
Appreciate
here
it.
since 3, and I don't want to stop. That's
Yeah.
I had fun. Yeah, I wasn't even looking at the time. I was enjoying that.
For
No,
real.
absolutely. I was
Yeah.
just like, we're about to run out of tape.
I'm
here,
also
so we're gonna
98%
go.
pee, so I gotta pee.
All right, thanks, guys.
So
Have
fun.
a good night.
You're the best.
Thank you guys for
Good
having me
night.
on.
Woo!
Thanks for listening to Yes But Why podcast.